between, and as a result, not especially helpful for making up for the large rainfall deficit. And the same could be said for Thursday. There'll be more showers across England and Wales compared with Wednesday, and there will be some heavy downpours, but amounts will vary significantly place to place. Then it turns drier into the weekend as high pressure starts to build.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
I'm Andrew Pearce. This is GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Five hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
the People's Channel?
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Queen Camilla has spoken for the first time about the emotional strain of keeping the King's cancer diagnosis a secret. It's as she visited a cancer support centre just days after hearing the news herself.
I remember coming to see
our Maggie's just after the King'd been diagnosed. Nobody could say anything at the time. That was quite difficult.
Yes, Her Majesty has opened up about that emotional visit in a new film marking 30 years of the charity Maggie's.
Well, the Queen also highlights the vital support that the charity provides to cancer patients and their families at one of the most difficult times of their lives.
And elsewhere in the royal household, almost 30 years on from her death, Princess Diana's brother Earl Spencer has revealed he's written a sensational new memoir about his sister and the circumstances around her death.
Now, I will soon go through that door behind me and issue my first instruction to end rough sleeping in our country.
In politics, the Prime Minister Andy Burnham has announced his plan to end rough sleeping by Christmas. Remember, that was one of his first major pledges when he first became Prime Minister.
Elsewhere, tragedy off the Sussex coast as a couple and their teenage daughter die after getting into difficulty in the water. A fourth family member, a younger girl, is critically ill in hospital.
An historic Hatton Garden jeweller is fighting plans that would see its 70-year-old shop demolished to make way for the entrance to a bar themed around the infamous £14 million heist.
Why is the President of the United States wrangling himself in legal knots, trying to rename a building, or perhaps just add his name, to the John F. Kennedy Center? Yes, this vast cultural center in Washington, D.C. Is this his way to fight a culture war, to get one over what's seen as a bastion of liberalism in this city? Or is this a waste of time and money? I went down to find out more.
And in sport this morning, Manchester City and Spain captain Rodri signs now for Barcelona. Test cricket gets underway today with a slightly less cavalier England against Pakistan at Headingley. And it looks like that the Joshua Fury Battle of Britain will happen in New York.
Rain. Yes, rain across most parts of the United Kingdom during the next few days. Very different compared with the last couple of months, but it's not the most useful rain, coming in the form of hit-and-miss showers. More detail in the forecast coming up soon.
Good morning, it's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Alex Armstrong, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Can't stop thinking about this family from Sussex. Have you seen this?
Yeah, front page of the Mail.
Front page of the Mail this morning. It's just the most horrific story that we're all waking up to this morning. It actually happened yesterday. It's 3 people from the same family have drowned in a tragedy at the seaside. This just happened off the West Sussex coast yesterday near Shoreham by Sea. So it was just after 3 o'clock yesterday, Shoreham by the sea. So it's the mother, the father and a teenage girl who have tragically died in just horrific circumstances, and the younger girl in the family is still in hospital in a critical condition. You can't even fathom.
It's just one of those stories. Yeah, because we've seen so many of these with the heat waves. Yeah. So many people have died just trying to cool down, going to the sea, swimming in the reservoirs, some cases, and you just can't fathom it, can you? Just can't fathom it.
You just, then you think, is there enough warnings around? Do people know about this? That it's so dangerous sometimes. I mean, especially, with waves in different parts of the country. You just honestly, and to go, you can't even imagine. It's just so awful.
You really can't.
Just awful.
And a lot of these cases, we don't know exactly what happened in this instance. There are reports from witnesses, and you can't imagine what the witnesses went through yesterday as well, seeing all of this. But it's the 2 children who got themselves into difficulty, and that the parents jumped in to help.
Of course you would do, straight in a second.
Of course you would as a parent. But I'm just thinking of this family this morning. It's just absolutely horrific, isn't it? So, front page of the Daily Mail today, of course, we're all thinking about that other little girl who's in a hospital in a critical condition. Of course, we hope that she pulls through. And we will talk about this more in the newspaper review a little bit later on, but just to say that we're thinking of them and everybody who witnessed that tragedy yesterday.
Yeah. All right, well, coming up to 5 minutes past 6, the Queen has spoken for the first time about the emotional strain of keeping the King's cancer diagnosis a secret from the public before it was announced to the world.
Yes, in a new film made in collaboration between Buckingham Palace and Maggie's charity in order to mark 30th anniversary of the charity, Queen Camilla reveals she was longing to let it out during a visit to one of their cancer support centres in January of 2024. Now, this was just days before the King's diagnosis was officially disclosed to the public.
I remember coming to see our Maggie's just after the King being diagnosed. Nobody could say anything at the time. That was quite difficult. I almost said something, but, you know, I felt that it wasn't the time to say. Looked at everybody who was suffering and all the relations, and I think it made me realise even more how important these places were.
Well, our royal correspondent Cameron Walker has filed this report.
Well, a pretty open and honest discussion there with Her Majesty the Queen, of course, talking for the first time about how she felt in the days leading up to the King's public announcement of his cancer diagnosis. She was speaking to the chief executive of Maggie's, that's a cancer charity that she is president of, and they're celebrating their 30th anniversary this year. And the Queen talking very openly there about visiting a local Maggie's cancer centre in a London hospital, knowing full well that the King had recently been diagnosed with a form of cancer, but the world did not yet know. She said she almost said something, but the time wasn't right. And then just 5 days later, of course, Buckingham Palace announced that the King has been diagnosed with a form of cancer. The Queen also talked about how the King was coping with it, or had been coping with it, and that was by keeping as busy as possible. It was his way of coping, Her Majesty said. Of course, in the past, she has said that the doctors had been urging him to slow down and he needed to do as he was told, but the King was continued to keep calm, carry on, and continue with public duties, only taking a couple of months out of public-facing duties to deal with his cancer treatment before going back to it from April 2024, and he's been continuing on that trajectory ever since. Royal sources tell me that the King's cancer journey is still going in a very positive direction. Of course, it was late last year that the King said it was a blessing that the frequency of cancer treatment could be reduced in the new year, and there has certainly been no change to that. The Queen wants a Maggie's centre in every major hospital around the country. As things stand, there's 24, I believe, around the country, and they help men and women with coming to terms with their cancer diagnosis with psychological support as well as the emotional support for the families. And there's a particular drive this year to encourage men to seek support, just like the King has done. And they say there's been an increase in Maggie's having men approach them following the King being so open and honest about his own cancer journey.
I think both of them, as in Queen Camilla and King Charles, need to be applauded, really, for their bravery in speaking so openly about this, because public awareness of cancer, I was reading this morning, it's something like this charity that's been making this film with the Queen, 12% increase in male visitors since the King came out publicly with his cancer diagnosis.
That will save thousands of lives.
Thousands of lives.
Wow. This is the important... I mean, look, I know we had big discussions. I remember at the time vividly discussions here about whether or not it's appropriate for us to know the private lives of the royal family. However, this decision, and also not long afterwards, was Catherine's cancer diagnosis first?
Same sort of time, yeah.
It was similar time, I can't quite remember, but for them both to have come forward and talk about it, I think is really important, and I hope it has saved lives. And
and I'm sure
clearly
it has.
this has 12% up is a positive thing in the sense that it will help people feel comfortable coming forward. We hear a lot of more men talk about different types of cancer, more men talking about prostate cancer now, which was a taboo for so long. So yes, it is really great that they're talking about it so openly, in my opinion. I know some people will disagree.
Yeah, and it is a very modern way of conducting themselves. The late Queen, we never would have heard about her death or updates about her health, ever. But it's a different approach, isn't it? And it's a great thing for public awareness. He's also very stoic, like his late mother, saying, I'm going to cope with this. That's apparently what he said.
Stiff upper lip. That was that generation, isn't it?
Very British, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, let's stick with the royal family, shall we? Because almost 30 years on from her death, the memory of Princess Diana looms large among the British public. It always will.
Yeah, 100%. And the royal family are bracing for more bombshells beyond the grave after her brother Earl Spencer has revealed he's written a new memoir about his late sister and the circumstances around her death.
Yes, Swan Song, which will be published in September, will cover Diana's unhappy marriage to the then Prince of Wales and the aftermath of her shocking death. in 1997.
Well, joining us now is royal historian Martin Whittock. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Martin. This is going to send shockwaves through the royal family. It's kind of giving me Spare 2.0 vibes at the moment, because, of course, this is not just, however, a reveal on a prince of the realm. This is a reveal of the king now at this point in time. Martin, what kind of damage might this do?
Well, that's a very good point. And as you said, the royals are very much in focus this morning. We've heard about the incredible discipline of the King and Queen, carrying on despite the huge pressures of last year's, 2 years ago now, cancer diagnosis. That shows something of their commitment to service, but also the frankness and the openness and the honesty now about where they are and where they've been on their journey, and how that's helped many people. But of course, coming on top of that now is this announcement by Earl Spencer that in advance of the 30th anniversary of the death of Princess Diana, which will be in August next year, that he is going to reveal a lot more, he's saying, about the circumstances leading to her death, and particularly the week of her death that obviously culminated in that tragic car accident. And I cannot help but feel that whilst I understand that for him, it is clearly still cathartic to talk about this tragedy, to speak about it, to reveal what he knows and hasn't said before. Part of me does feel that there does come a point where one has to let these things lie and be at peace. Because in many ways, as you've just rightly intimated, this is going to open up a whole range of very raw wounds, which have obviously gone through a period of healing over the decades. And it's going to open it up again. We'll be back again to the tragic situation, the breakup of that marriage. We'll be back again to the pressure on her, the paparazzi and so on, and the tragic accident. And part of me does feel that whilst I can understand there are things he still wants to say, that I do genuinely think it's now time to let her rest in peace. That's my personal feeling. And I think it will, of course, concerns within the royal household that we're about to go through this again and again, tragic as indeed it is.
Do you think we're going to learn anything new from this book, Martin?
It's difficult. It's difficult to imagine so. I mean, obviously, we will get more personal insights. It may well be that some more details come out about that accident, but we have, in fact, been over this ground again and again and again. Huge spotlight of publicity, of course, at the time of her death, and rightly so. So there will no doubt be personal insights and personal communications between the two of them will have come out and so on. But I genuinely find it difficult to think that anything will come out that will majorly change the verdict of history on this situation, or the verdict of the investigators as to what lay behind the crash itself. So, as I say, my concern is that this will tear open wounds again, which have finally healed, I think. People have accepted Queen Camilla, that they've recognised that these things were in the past, there were tragedies, wrong things were done, bad things were done, but people have moved on from there without in any way denigrating the history or forgetting the history. But I think constantly reminding us of this does have that risk of just opening wounds again, and I think that is a pity.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you there, Martin. I think there's time to move on, isn't there? And that's, I think we've got to that stage. But listen, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Royal historian Martin Whittock, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now let's have a look at politics, because the Prime Minister has announced a drive to get thousands of rough sleepers, in fact all rough sleepers, off the streets by Christmas.
Interesting. I wonder what the caveats are. The Prime Minister is attempting a repeat of efforts during the coronavirus pandemic, when everyone in scheme resulted in thousands of rough sleepers across England being taken off the streets.
Well, the latest annual national statistics, which are published by the government in February, estimated there are 4,793 people sleeping rough on a single night in autumn of 2025 in England.
Interesting, because this is a new record high and the fourth annual increase in a row. Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, sorry.
We both want to introduce Freddie ourselves.
Well, you go.
Excited to have him, beg your pardon. Assistant editor at The Spectator, Freddie Gray. Morning, Freddie.
Morning, wonderful to be with you both.
It's a pleasure to have you here. And this is an interesting follow-up from his initial statement walking into this, the front door of number 10, where I guess now the timeline's, a few months away, really, before Christmas?
A few months till homelessness is solved as an issue. We shall see. I think we shouldn't be too cynical. I mean, ending homelessness is a noble Christian ambition.
Yes. Of course it is.
And it's a good thing that Andy Burnham wants to pursue it. I find it irritating, however, that he talks about it as though he's the person who's discovered this issue while announcing a policy that is effectively a copy of a policy that was there 4 years ago. So, yes, I'm afraid it looks a lot like what we see a lot from Burnham, which is good messaging, good signalling of virtue, and we are yet to see the virtue in action, or whether the virtue is properly planned, or whether the virtue will result in homelessness being solved. If he does it, it's a good achievement. I wouldn't say on the list of very important issues that the British government has to face, it's tremendously high up. But again, I think, let's not be too cynical, a good thing if he solves it.
Well, it's a noble aim, as you say. Yeah. He's seeking to recreate measures that were introduced during the coronavirus pandemic, right? So how would this work? And, I mean, the issue here with homelessness is if it was an easy fix, it would have been done by now.
Well, yes, so
it's a lot more complicated picture.
It's a lot more complicated picture. It's about trying to provide securer, longer-term... The ambition is to secure longer-term temporary accommodations. Longer-term temporary accommodation sounds a bit complicated, but, I mean, the system in other cities and at times in Britain has been to house the homeless in hotels.
Yes.
And obviously that's shifted towards the illegal migrant problem, where we now house illegal migrants in hotels. I think the ambition of everyone in the COVID pandemic was to just get people off the streets because of the emergency situation, and therefore sort of spending on it was ramped up, and it was effective. If it's to be a copy of that, it will be expensive. You can justify doing it on moral grounds. However, is it going to solve the long-term problem? It hasn't in other cities. If you look at New York, where they housed the homeless in temporary accommodation in hotels, spent a huge amount of money doing it. It was effective short-term, but it doesn't solve the structural problems that cause homelessness.
That is, unfortunately, the case. And the caveat here is they're going to offer, I think the key word was offer, a space to every homeless person. And, of course, an offer and, forcing someone to do it, that's basically what happened in COVID, is a completely different thing. But
if you look at charities that try and do it, they will tell you this is the problem. They can offer this place, but they can't necessarily get people in.
Certainly right. Freddie Gray will be back with us in an hour's time. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Freddie. Coming up to 18 minutes past 6, let's take a look at some other stories coming into the newsroom on this Tuesday morning.
The UK's latest inflation rate figure for the 12 months...
Sorry.
It is Wednesday morning.
Yeah,
it's Wednesday morning. Don't know what day of the week.
Got the day of the week wrong. Sorry, continue.
That's all right. I'll just start from the top. The UK's latest inflation rate figure for the 12 months to July will be announced at 7 a.m. this morning. Well, most expect the rate to rise from June's figure of 2.6% to 2.9% due to continued uncertainty in the Middle East.
President Trump says he'll delay imposing new tariffs on a wide array of Canadian goods for 3 days. It's as the countries firm up a trade deal. The announcement came less than 2 hours before a 50% levy on nearly $20 billion worth of Canadian imports was set to go in place.
And Ukraine's recently ousted defence minister called for a wartime election in a bombshell address last night. He stated that the nation faced a crisis of governance and spoke out on wartime corruption.
Now, guess what I did this morning?
Go on.
Reached for a brolly.
Do you know, I've got mine in my bag for the first time.
I almost forgot what it was like to pick up a brolly. I feel like it's been months.
I was coming in this morning, it was very dark, and I thought, oh, it's very wet as well.
It's quite nice.
We need the rain. We desperately need the rain.
Well, the plants need it, don't they? I think
but the city looks like it's had a wash.
Yeah.
It's looking pretty grubby. No, it's grubby at the best of times.
Yeah, it's quite dusty out there anyway. I bet you're pleased to see the rain. Let us know what you think. In the meantime, let's get a check on the weather picture with Aidan McGibbon.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office. A very different feel across the UK compared with summer so far. Some bright spells, yes, but also frequent heavy showers, and not just for northern parts of the UK. Some other areas across England and Wales where we desperately need rain have had a splash of rain overnight, not much, and there'll be further showers through the day today. So, yeah, with a cooler feel as well. It's a marked contrast compared with summer so far. But the most frequent showers always across Northern Ireland, Western Scotland, Northern England, where there'll be some hail and thunder. And it will feel notably cool with a brisk breeze. Further south, low to mid-20s. In any sunny spells, there will be some fleeting showers. Now, these are going to be very hit and miss. Some places will mostly avoid them and stay dry with sunny spells. Other areas will get a brief shower or two. Not enough to help the current situation, but better than nothing. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland, much of Scotland, plastered with showers, those showers pushing south into northern parts of England. The far north of Scotland, fewer showers. They're not quite as lively here, with cooler air all in all for Shetland as well as Orkney. Now, the showers in the northwest do tend to trickle southwards on Wednesday night into Thursday. As a result, I think we're likely to see more showers for England and Wales by the start of Thursday compared with much of today. Temperatures overnight a little bit fresher, especially towards the north, but still in the teens in many places, so not a cold night by any stretch of the imagination. And we start Thursday with very mixed weather across the country. Some areas seeing heavy rain. The heaviest rain, most likely northern England into parts of Wales, and then that will sink south through the day. Hail and thunder possible anywhere across England and Wales. And with these heavy showers, it's certainly going to be something we've not experienced a great deal of during the summer so far. Also, temperatures down a touch on today, so a notably cooler feel. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Still to come, a historic jeweller could be forced out of Hatton Garden to make way for a bar inspired by one of Britain's most notorious heists. I'm going to talk to them next.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the cars.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Welcome back to Breakfast. It's 25 minutes past 6. Now, a historic Hatton Garden jewellers is facing demolition so that developers can open a heist-themed bar in its basement.
Well, family firm Katz & Co Limited stands on the same block where a gang stole £14 million from a safety deposit, or multiple safety deposit boxes, in 2015. But it may not be for much longer.
Well, the owner, George, and his son-in-law, Robert, now face an uphill battle to stop developers transforming this iconic setting into a themed bar designed to attract the punters.
And we're now joined by directors at Katz & Co Limited, George Katz, known as Mr Katz in Hatton Garden, and his son-in-law and director, Rob Willis. Gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. It's lovely to have you on Breakfast.
Good morning.
Many people will be thinking this is absolutely bonkers. Could you maybe just give us a little bit of colour as to how this has all transpired?
Well, we were waiting for our lease to come through, and as normal, after 70 years trading there, and I just turned over the page, and then it said, "You've got 3 months to get out. We're not renewing your lease." I mean, it's a complete shock out of the blue. We were devastated about this, absolutely devastated, to just get out after three months.
Were you affected by the heist back in 2015? Because this is recent history that would have impacted on so many jewellers in Hatton Garden. I mean, at the very least, this just seems to be in really poor taste that on that very site, you'd now put a bar, almost glamorising the crime.
Completely agree with you. We were there that Saturday. It was just before bank holiday, and the street was quite normal. We saw nothing untoward. And we closed up, and on the coming next Tuesday, suddenly there were crowds of people outside the shop trying to get into the safe deposit because apparently the burglary had occurred there. People were crying, panic-stricken, and people came into the shop telling us stories that they'd... one person actually said, I just opened a box there 3 weeks before and put the family jewels there, and can you let me in the shop? And I said, no, we can't. The police are down there, and they were there for, I believe, about 3 or 4 weeks, sorting things out, and before anybody could try and rescue or see what's happened to their precious things.
So many people affected as well, and lives ruined, I would have thought, too. Just give us a little bit of history about the shop. Why was it formed? When did the shop come into existence, and why?
OK, well, I'll take that. Obviously, I've been in the family business for about 10 years now, so I don't know the history, obviously, as well as Mr Katz, who has lived it himself. But in 1939, Mr Katz's father, Emil Katz, came over from Czechoslovakia. He was actually, so there he is there, you've got a lovely picture of him there, which we've managed to find. Yes, he was escaping, obviously, Nazi Germany at the time, sort of Czechoslovakia. So he came over, and the story, as we've been told through the family, is he literally just had a few diamonds sewed into his suit, and that's all he managed to come over with. He set up business in Hatton Garden. He found premises in 1946. So that was just over 80 years ago this year. And then we found the premises that we're in now in 1955. And we've been there for 71 years now, ever since. Emil Katz passed away, sadly, in his 40s. And Mr Katz's mother, Edith, who you've got there in the picture, she came into the shop. This was in the 1950s. It was completely unheard of at that time for a woman to come into Hatton Garden and roll her sleeves up and try and run this business. She did so with her eldest son here by my side, Mr Katz, who was taken out of school at 16 years old and told he had to work in the jewellery business. Wow. And he's been there ever since. So he is part of the living history of Hatton Garden itself, along with the shop. He's actually been working in Hatton Garden for 70 years this year.
Wow.
Wow. Well, Robert, just before we let you go, because I'm afraid we are running out of time with you both, but Robert, just bring us up to speed with the fight. What have you got on your hands here? Is it against the developers? Is it against the council? It's a David and Goliath battle you've got on your hands here.
Absolutely. The fight is very much with the developers and our landlords. Camden Council, I have to say, have been very, very supportive and helpful. They have to remain completely impartial, of course, at this stage, but they have been very, very supportive. Look, there are planning policies in place to protect Hatton Garden. It's a protected area, and they in their planning policies, they have priorities to always retain and protect jewellery businesses. The planning application is live. It's out there right now. It's got, I think, about 10, 11 days to go. They're still taking comments on it. So if people do want to object to the plans, they can do so. I'll just repeat the application plan detailed. It's on Camden Council's planning website. The planning application is 2026/3010/P. That's 2026/3010/P. If you type that into Camden's planning portal webpage, the planning application will come up. People are welcome to comment on it and for at least another 10, 12 days.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Katz, Robert, thank you both very much for coming on this morning. Really do appreciate your time and good luck in your battle as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Good luck. I was just thinking about this. It's like, Camden doesn't really need another bar.
Well, it's a fantastic point.
We really need another bar.
I also think if you're ever in Hatton Garden, they have to deal with theft and robberies almost every day. It's an everyday reality for those jewellers there. So having a bar that really makes light of situations like that, is that really appropriate? Anyway, we should say Camden Council spokesperson has said it's an established centre for the jewellery industry. This is Hatton Garden. We seek to protect existing business users, and the application is currently open for consultation until the 30th of August.
There we go. All right, then, let's move on and get I think it's time for a daily reflection, actually. Should we do that?
Yeah,
let's get a daily reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
We live in a pluralistic age when there is a whole menu of ideas, worldviews and religions on offer, and it seems you can just take your pick. But does that really work when it comes to truth? Hi, my name is the Reverend Pat Allerton, and I'm a vicar in the Church of England. And in the Gospels, we come across a story where Jesus goes to visit a servant who's very sick. But on the way, a Roman centurion, a pagan, someone who worships a different god, meets him and says, "Lord, I am not even worthy to have you come under my roof, but just say the word and my servant will be healed." And from that moment, the servant, some distance away, back in that house, is instantly healed. You see, it was when that pagan Roman centurion realized and grasped the identity of Jesus Christ, that he is more than just a good man. He is more than just a good religious teacher, that he is, in fact, the Son of God with all authority under heaven. It is when he realized that and displayed his trust and faith in Jesus that the miracle happened. And friends, it can be the same for you and me today. Wherever we're at, if we truly look to Jesus, if we put our trust in him, if we understand who he is, that he is the way, the truth, and the life, we can experience breakthrough in our lives too. God bless you.
And that's your daily reflection on this Wednesday morning.
It is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday. I'm glad we've established the date. Do you know what? I blame you. You've thrown me off.
What do you mean you blame me?
You were hiking the Alps on Monday, and I looked at you and I said, how many days have I done with you this week? I've done 2, so it must be Tuesday.
Yeah.
Ah, but you weren't in Monday.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't in Monday.
So you've thrown me off.
I've thrown you. Blame Alex. Poor me.
I missed you. Anyway, glad you're back now.
Me too. And if you're on the move, like I was on Monday, here's your traffic and travel update.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M2 eastbound is affected by a collision between junctions 2 and 3 in Rochester. The M27 at junction 2 in Romsey is closed. The M4 westbound has an obstruction between junctions 4B and 5 near Heathrow. The M1 is closed between junctions 9 and 11A in Luton. The M6 southbound has an incident at junction 3 in Coventry North. In Scotland, the A78 between Dunlop Street and A8 Ratho Street is closed in both directions. And on the trains, Greater Anglia has major disruption between Shenfield and Southend Victoria. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
We can allow.
Politics, policy, Parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. It's sports time. Paul Coyte's here with us. Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Premier League is only a few days away, you know that, don't you?
I bet you can't wait.
You know, look at me. I'm
It's like the
shaking
countdown
with excitement. So anyway, we've got some other bits and pieces for you. First, Rodrigo Hernandez Cascante.
Very
Do you know many people know that?
Very good Spanish.
Anyway, Rodri has signed from Manchester City to Barcelona. You know, he's one of only 11 players ever to win the World Cup, the Champions League and the Ballon d'Or.
Wow.
Please don't ask me who the other 10 are, for crying out loud.
Who are the others?
I'll tell you later.
I bet you do know.
I'll tell you later. Let's go Rodrigo. There he is with his shirt, looking very happy. 16. See, sometimes when they sign in Spain, they go out on the pitch and then they have to do a bit of ball juggling, and he probably didn't really fancy that.
No.
So 2030, the reason that's what he signed until £65.4 million. He was in his final year of his contract at Manchester City, but the thing is, he's quite injury prone recently. But 65.4. It's a fair old amount of money, but he's a great player. He was the best player at the World Cup, of course, won the World Cup with Spain. And, well, let's hear what he has to say. And it's in English as well, so here's
Wow, there you go.
And my feelings are great, you know. Right now I'm completely a bit tired about the process, you know, because when everything is done, But right now, with the focus that this team can manage to win everything, right? I think we're signing players, we're creating a culture to win everything, to make a step forward in Europe and keep doing in La Liga. So really happy to work with my teammates.
Nice that you did it in English, I think.
Yeah. Why though? Is it just into more international?
I don't know, because usually you know, there's nothing I can play.
Do it
Obviously, I'd have to translate for you, but this one, there we go.
We'd let you off today.
Test cricket is back. We know Test cricket's back because the rain's come. Isn't that amazing?
Perfect timing.
Well, you know, all this time. And then now it's raining and Test cricket is back at Headingley. And after England and after all the scandal, you know, with Ben Stokes and the drinking thing and also Bazball coming to an end, Brendan McCullum. So he's gone, Ben Stokes has gone. But now Joe Root is now back as England Test captain. So they're playing against Pakistan. Day one is today. So I don't know whether this is going to go 5 days because Bazball's out the way or whether Joe Root actually is going to play differently or with anyway. Here's Joe Root. I think he was asked about whether they're still going to play in maybe a swashbuckling style or completely take it the other way now. Here's Joe Root.
I don't think there's a huge amount that we need to change. I think it's small things that will make a big difference, and it's not about ripping it up. I think it's about keeping a lot of the good stuff that we've been doing for a period of time and that Ben and Baz built for a long while, but making small adjustments that in game will make a big difference. So giving clarity to the group on what that looks like and then putting into place over and over again.
So it's going to be a bit of that, bit of the same and a bit of not the same, and we'll see how we go.
Oh, there you go.
Hedging his bets, I think so. So anyway, that gets underway today. I've got some kits for you. So I said the Premier League begins on Friday. Arsenal are going to be playing Coventry, first game, the champions, against a newly promoted Coventry City. So see what you think of these. I don't know whether you're a fan of a traditional kit or something a little more funky. Let's go through some of these. Right, first one. This is the Spurs. There's James Maddison there. What do you think about this? The Spurs away kit.
Hate it.
Yeah. You don't like it? Why?
It's messy.
Do you think so?
Far too much going on. Don't like the colours.
Dark navy base overlaid with jagged bands in purple, pink and orange. So you don't like that one? See, everybody's buying these. Well, everybody's wearing those. OK, I won't get you one of those, Ellie. Let's try for your team there.
Oh, no.
Oh, this is Crystal Palace. This is the home.
This is dreadful.
Do you not like it?
No, this is absolutely dreadful.
It's old-fashioned.
Right. This is dreadful. What on earth are they thinking? Is there in a sash?
The sash is the traditional, though. Very Crystal Palace traditional.
It's very old-fashioned. I don't like it.
It's the colours not good.
Honestly, you too.
It's very French.
OK, well, let's try. All right, we'll move on. Let's try this one. Chelsea now. The Chelsea
I'm all right with that.
Oh, yeah, it's boring, though, isn't it? For crazy.
No, I like boring.
A bit of blue and yellow.
Looks good.
Effective.
I like that.
Ellie, you like that?
Yeah, simple.
You two are surprising me. Right, we've got two more. Now, you won't like this one.
No, I hate it.
And Bruno Guimaraes there, who's now gone to Arsenal, is probably because of the kit. Yeah, it's like, what are you doing? It looks like a barcode, doesn't it?
It does. Tesco.
It looks like when your TV's on the blink.
It does, and if you stare at it too long, you do go dizzy. Now, I think that's probably the plan.
Tactic.
Thick and thin, light blue Adidas stripes on the side. OK, we're not a fan of it. Finally, Fulham away. What do you think about that one?
Hate it.
Oh, honestly, you got out of bed on the wrong side this morning.
No, do you know what? I saw them in the papers this morning and I thought, I don't like any of them. They're so garish.
Oh, red and black checkerboard, throwback to 1996-97. Well, I think we must try harder then, and I'll bring some more in the next hour, and we'll see how we get after 7 o'clock.
I think that's right, and then we'll send our reviews into the team so they can change it before the
Honestly,
Premier League
Nike are
starts
not going to employ you two as designers, are they?
Well, they might need us, I think. They need us on board.
Just blue, white, that's it, nothing else, just a badge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Koisi. Time now for the Great British Giveaway, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
How much is it?
Until Friday to win £60,000 in cash and a real gold bar. Here are all the details that you need.
Where is she?
Welcome to Orla Santi by Domes Resorts. There's just 2 days left to see how you can win big in our golden summer celebration.
And you could be enjoying a golden year with an incredible £60,000 to be won.
That's tax-free cash that you'll get to spend on anything you like. What would you do with it?
You could relax knowing that we've got those day-to-day financial pressures sorted.
Or find yourself celebrating in the lap of five-star luxury, somewhere like here, the Spritzeria.
Plus, we'll give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 that you can keep or gift to a loved one.
Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on Friday.
For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Glenys says the Palace stripe is awful.
Really?
Yeah.
I quite like it.
Terrible.
Maybe I'm on my own.
Yeah. Still to come, though. Study examining social division across Britain has revealed England's friendliest places. Any guesses?
Essex.
Okay.
Or Yorkshire.
Well, OK, that's it. It's going to be in the papers with Sebastian Salek and Suzanne Evans. But first...
Here's your forecast across Europe.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's not just the UK where we've seen a change in the weather this week, certainly much cooler across northern and central Europe, with some very lively thunderstorms in places. Now, there are some thunderstorms around on Thursday for eastern parts of Spain into the south of Iberia, for example. But the liveliest downpours and thunderstorms most likely northern Italy into the Alps, and especially around the Italian lakes, where there could be some very significant rain right there through this week and into the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
I remember it vividly, the first dogfight over Biggin Hill, over New Addington. And this particular morning, the war started. My mother had asked me to go and get her a pint of beer from she wasn't a drunkard or anything, but she liked to drink on a Sunday morning. So she said, well, son, she said, go down and get me a bottle of beer, will you? I mean, all was quiet in the Western Front. So I said, yes, Mum. So I'm going down the road now. I hadn't gone a quarter of a mile, and all of a sudden there's this confusion, all this noise and that, zooming and banging. I thought, what on earth's that? And I looked up, and there they were, dogfighting over New Addington.
GB News, the People's Channel. Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Joining us now is Head of Advocacy at Big Brother Watch, Jack Colson. Jack, interested to know your view on this. You know, why shouldn't I be able to wear my Meta glasses around?
Well, certainly there are times and places where Meta glasses might be of use, particularly for those with visual impairments. The technology really could be a breakthrough, but we see these as the tip of an iceberg. Meta's glasses have already been potentially linked to facial recognition technology, which really would be a stalker's charter. And we are operating in an environment where perpetrators of harassment feel safe to use this technology, when really it's the public who ought to feel safe. So the government ultimately are going to have to explore restrictions on this kind of technology, and we're seeing civil society push back.
GB News, the People's Channel.
I have a real treat for you, because I have found women. Yes, and these women are badly behaved in Benidorm, and they've been here for... How long have you been here?
Since Tuesday. Yeah, just a week this time. Normally we do 2 weeks, but just a week this time.
And whereabouts in the UK are you from?
From Surrey.
Surrey. Manchester. Salford.
Doncaster.
Quite the mix, I would say. Are you getting ready to go into the Strip?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, why not? It's iconic.
We do culture first and then the Strip. That's the right way round, right?
If you say so. Will you be out on the Strip?
Most definitely, yet again.
And what's so attractive about it?
The Strip or the culture?
The Strip.
What am I allowed to say on TV?
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast. It's 6:49. We're going through the papers this morning in the company of former Labour councillor Sebastian Salek and political commentator Suzanne Evans. Morning to you two. Really good to see you both. Sebastian, let's start with you. And there's no blame, to be fair. Andy Burnham pledging to get all rough sleepers off the streets by Christmas. But is it possible, or is it pie in the sky?
Well, we did it during COVID. This is what he's saying. We had this emergency response.
Temporarily, we did it.
Yes, and this is temporary as well. The way I understand it is he's going to plough a load of money in and make sure nobody's on the streets over Christmas, which is shows quite a good level of foresight, I think. It's a pretty hot time at the moment. We're not thinking about this kind of a crisis, but before we know it, it's going to get pretty cold, and this is going to become more and more of a problem. We have it every year, so good to be talking about it now, securing the money so that they can go ahead and execute and make sure that nobody's spending Christmas on the streets.
I think this is the second time he's made the pledge, because in 2020 he made the pledge to end rough sleeping in Manchester, and it didn't work, unfortunately. And Sebastian, absolutely right, we managed it during COVID, but that was because all the hotels were empty, because nobody was allowed to go and stay in a hotel. So, I mean, I know the hotel in my county town did open its doors and took people in, which was a great initiative, but I'm afraid I'm very dubious about it under normal circumstances. Like I say, he didn't end rough sleeping in Manchester despite his pledge, and I think we've got such high levels of immigration as well. There's going to be such pressure on housing that I just don't see it happening, unfortunately.
This is a difficult one, isn't it, Sebastian, because it's very complex by nature, because it's not just the government deciding, OK, we're going to end rough sleeping, we're going to offer everyone a home, which, of course, would work, right, if you gave everyone a home. However, it's not just down to the government, it's down to the individual as well. A lot of caveats that come with ending rough sleeping, including ending drug abuse, ending other forms of abuses as well, and that can be quite...
Oh, yeah, I mean, homelessness is horrendously complex, isn't it? There are all sorts of reasons people end up on the streets, but I broadly believe, and I don't think this is particularly optimistic, that most people who are homeless don't want to be homeless. So you have that initial will, and there are ways of finding places for them, whether it's requisitioning empty buildings, whether it's building more shelters, anything to get a roof over people's heads. The beauty of being Prime Minister is you're a lot more powerful than the Mayor of Manchester, so those powers are at your disposal.
Do we know how this is going to be paid for, Sebastian?
I don't know how it's going to be paid for. He's talking about 100 million, but there were some other figures in the Guardian story that were also in three figures, so he's certainly willing to throw money at it. And remember, when he stood on the steps of Downing Street, it was one of the first things he mentioned, so it's going to become a real political priority for him.
Let's move on, shall we? Britain enduring a jobs drought, Suzanne.
Yes, that's right, and job vacancies have fallen to a 12-year low, and unemployment's gone up. And you know, what did we expect, really? You know, if you're going to hammer employers with £25 billion worth of extra costs through employers' national insurance, and put through a workers' rights bill, which is terrifying employers because they're worried they're going to hire somebody, and then even if they're atrociously bad at their job, they're not going to be able to get rid of them. Businesses are inevitably being very cautious about hiring people. There's also, this week, there's been some statistics showing that private sector pay has plummeted, but public sector pay has gone up. I mean, that is so wrong. It should be the other way round, because obviously the private sector is paying for the public sector. So everything I think about the jobs market at the moment, it's a really depressing situation for businesses, truly depressing. They're not making money, they've got very high taxes, and now more clobbering with more taxes, and clobbering, as I say, with these workers' rights rules, which of course workers have got to have rights, but I think what we've got now has just been complete overkill. So people aren't hiring. So who suffers? The jobless people, ordinary working people who the government claims it's trying to help, but actually is counterproductively preventing them from getting a job.
Sebastian, the government have got to look at these figures and accept that their policy has been damaging to business.
Well, I mean, if you look at the general trend, this peaked in 2022 and has been coming downwards since. So we had 2 years under the Tories when this was a problem. It's more a continuation of that particular trend. So, yes, it is a problem. I think everybody within Whitehall will be taking this incredibly seriously. But what you can't do is allow it to get around giving workers rights that they deserve. If we took that mindset, we wouldn't have the weekend, we wouldn't have the minimum wage, we wouldn't have bank holidays. All of these things we now take for granted were fought for, and I think this new package of workers' rights incredibly important and will be incredibly well received by people who are working, which is a large chunk of people in this country and a large
people that are working,
watching,
but it's going to prevent other people getting jobs, I'm afraid. That's the problem.
All right, you two, we've got to leave it there, but we will see you for a longer pay-per-view in the next hour, so thank you very much.
Thank you, both
Still
of you.
to come here, tetraplegic Army veteran is preparing to take on 79 miles of gruelling Scottish terrain, controlling his off-road wheelchair entirely with his chin. We're going to meet him at 7:20 this morning, but first...
Time for your weather with Ada McGibbon.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office. A very different feel across the UK compared with summer so far. Some bright spells, yes, but also frequent heavy showers, and not just for northern parts of the UK. Some other areas across England and Wales where we desperately need rain have had a splash of rain overnight, not much, and there'll be further showers through the day today. So, yeah, with a cooler feel as well. It's a marked contrast compared with summer so far. But the most frequent showers always across Northern Ireland, Western Scotland, Northern England, where there'll be some hail and thunder, and it will feel notably cool with a brisk breeze. Further south, low to mid-20s in any sunny spells. There will be some fleeting showers. Now, these are going to be very hit and miss. Some places will mostly avoid them and stay dry with sunny spells. Other areas will get a brief shower or two. Not enough to help the current situation, but better than nothing. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland, much of Scotland, plastered with showers, those showers pushing south into northern parts of England. The far north of Scotland, fewer showers. They're not quite as lively here, with cooler air all in all for Shetland as well as Orkney. Now, the showers in the northwest do tend to trickle southwards on Wednesday night into Thursday. As a result, I think we're likely to see more showers for England and Wales by the start of Thursday compared with much of today. Temperatures overnight a little bit fresher, especially towards the north, but still in the teens in many places, so not a cold night by any stretch of the imagination. And we start Thursday with very mixed weather across the country. Some areas seeing heavy rain. The heaviest rain, most likely northern England into parts of Wales, and then that will sink south through the day. Hail and thunder possible anywhere across England and Wales. And with these heavy showers, it's certainly going to be something we've not experienced a great deal of during the summer so far. Also, temperatures down a touch on today, so a notably cooler feel. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M27 westbound is closed between junctions 7 and 5 near Southampton Airport. The A36 is closed after the A360. The M1 northbound is closed between junctions 9 and 11A in Luton. In Scotland, the A737 eastbound has a queue and 2 lanes are restricted at A737 to A761 Elderslie. And on the trains, Greater Anglia has major disruption between Shenfield and Southend Victoria, while East Midlands Railway has a temporary reduced timetable on services. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's the final week to see how you could win over £65,000 in prizes.
You could be our latest Great British Giveaway winner.
First of all, we want to give you
£60,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, you'll also receive a fine gold bar worth over £5,000.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Queen Camilla has spoken for the first time about the emotional strain of keeping the King's cancer diagnosis a secret. It's as she visited a cancer support centre just days after receiving the news herself.
I remember coming to see our Maggie's just after the King being diagnosed. Nobody could say anything at the time. That was quite difficult.
Well, Her Majesty has opened up about that emotional visit in a new film marking 30 years of the charity Maggie's.
Well, the Queen also highlights the vital support that the charity provides to cancer patients and their families at one of the most difficult times of their lives.
Well, that charity visit happened just 5 days before Buckingham Palace announced the King has been diagnosed with a form of cancer. The Queen also opens up about the King's coping mechanism for the disease.
And tragedy off the Sussex coast as a couple and their daughter, their teenage daughter, die after getting into difficulty in the water. A fourth family member, a younger girl, is critically ill in hospital.
Now, I will soon go through that door behind me and issue my first instruction to end rough sleeping in our country.
In politics this morning, the Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, has announced his plan to end rough sleeping by Christmas. One of his first major pledges, if you remember, when he first became Prime Minister.
And Britain's sky-high electricity prices are costing households and holding back investment. But a new report claims that changing course on net zero could save consumers £320 billion.
A tetraplegic army veteran is preparing to take on 79 miles of gruelling Scottish terrain, controlling his off-road wheelchair entirely with his chin. We're going to meet him in about 20 minutes.
And sport this morning, well, Manchester City and Spain captain, although no longer Manchester City captain, Rodri has now signed for Barcelona. Test cricket gets underway again today, you can tell because it's raining, with the less cavalier England against Pakistan at Headingley. And it looks as if Joshua, Fury, the Battle of Britain will happen, not in Britain.
Rain. Yes, rain across most parts of the United Kingdom during the next few days. Very different compared with the last couple of months, but it's not the most useful rain, coming in the form of hit and miss showers. More detail in the forecast coming up soon.
Good morning, it's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
I'm Alex Armstrong and this is GB News Breakfast.
What do you think of this plan to end rough sleeping by Christmas? Noble aim, very Christian aim, as Freddie Gray was telling us in the 6 a.m. I think we can all say that it would be a brilliant thing to end rough sleeping. But huge questions. Is it possible?
Yeah, and obviously the Mayor of Manchester, former Mayor of Manchester, should I say, now Prime Minister, aimed to do this in Manchester. I went up there not that long ago, and unfortunately that homelessness issue hasn't been completely solved. So a difficult one indeed. But do you think it's possible?
I mean, you'd hope it's possible, but homelessness is a very, very complex and complicated issue, isn't it? It often deals with trauma and addiction and difficult family circumstances. I mean, Prince William has spoken about wanting to end homelessness.
He has.
There's certainly a need and a want across society to end it, but if it was easily done, it probably would have been done by now.
Indeed.
Anyway, let us know what you think. Loads of views coming in on that one.
And let's get some breaking news for you at the moment. The UK inflation rate has risen to 2.9% in the 12 months to July. That's according to the Office for National Statistics.
Well, this compares to the rate of 2.6% announced last month for the year to June. Well, a resumption of hostilities in Iran and global uncertainty has contributed to the rise.
Let's just break that for you one more time. The UK inflation rate has risen to 2.9% in the 12 months to July, according to the Office for National Statistics.
We'll have more analysis on that throughout the programme for you.
Will indeed. Not the news that the government will want to hear today, especially the new Chancellor, John Healey, indeed. So, yeah, not looking like it's going in the right direction.
No, it's certainly not. Is it going to be a headache for Mr Healey? Now, 4 minutes past 7, the Queen has spoken for the first time about the emotional strain of keeping the King's cancer diagnosis a secret from the public before it was announced to the world.
In a new film made in collaboration between Buckingham Palace and the charity Maggie's to mark its 30th anniversary, Queen Camilla reveals she was longing to let it out during a visit to one of their cancer support centres in January 2024, just days before the King's diagnosis was officially disclosed to the public.
I remember coming to see our Maggie's just after the King being diagnosed. Nobody could say anything at the time. That was quite difficult. I almost said something, but, you know, I felt that it wasn't the time to say it. Looked at everybody who was suffering and all the relations, and I think it made me realise even more how important these places were.
Well, GB News' royal correspondent Cameron Walker joins us now. And Cameron, this is a really candid conversation with the Queen.
Yeah, it certainly is. She's president of Maggie's, the cancer charity, who are marking their 30th anniversary this year. And actually, they've announced, to coincide with this film, that the number of men seeking support from them has actually risen by 12% since the King has been so open about his cancer diagnosis. And it's a very open and honest discussion filmed in Clarence House a number of weeks ago with the chief executive of Maggie's cancer charity, where the Queen basically is talking about how it was, knowing that the King had been diagnosed with a form of cancer, but clearly couldn't say anything about it, even though she was speaking to relatives going through very similar things to what she was doing inside Maggie's Cancer Centre with those who were suffering. So Maggie's, there's 24 of them around the UK in hospitals, and it's all about maybe the holistic approach going alongside the clinical treatments for cancer, so more to do with the emotional well-being, perhaps, of patients and their families. But what the Queen also talked about was how the King coped with it. And she said, the King's way of coping was basically keeping calm and carrying on and keeping as busy as possible. That was his coping mechanism, despite, of course, she said previously that the doctors have ordered him or urged him to slow down. The Queen has urged him to slow down, and he's not doing as he's being told.
And, of course, it's done so many tremendous things, indeed, for the health of the public, because before this was quite unprecedented to see a monarch talk so openly about their health. 12% more people coming forward, men, I think, was that correct?
Yeah, 12%.
We've also seen a tranche of very high-profile figures across the British public come forward with their cancer diagnosis as well, let alone the Princess of Wales. Jeremy Clarkson just comes to mind, recently coming forward about his cancer diagnosis. So do you think the King has inspired the nation in many ways to be more transparent about their health?
Well, I think quite possibly. I mean, he certainly pioneered it. I think there was always a risk or a worry in the past that if you gave too much information, a lot of people would pry and want more information. But what we saw with the Princess of Wales is, of course, there was a huge vacuum ahead of her cancer announcement, and the King was quite open and honest. And as you say, it has perhaps encouraged others to do the same. But of course, everyone has to do it on their own terms. There hasn't been any kind of update on the King's cancer, but of course, it continues in a very positive direction. And if you remember back in December, the King said it was a blessing that he could reduce the frequency of his own treatments, although he is still receiving treatment.
We got a sense of the attitude of the King whilst he was going through this back in 2024, didn't we, Cameron? Very stoic, very stiff upper lip. I'm going to cope, is what the Queen says.
Yes, and when he was diagnosed in January 2024, or when the announcement, I should say, happened in 2024, it was 3 months, I think, before he started back on public duty. So he took kind of 12 weeks off during that initial treatment process. But I think that just shows how he was really determined to continue with his public duties. He's been waiting his whole life to be king. He's 77 years old, the longest-serving heir apparent. And, you know, it was only 5, 6, 7 months later, but he did a massive tour of Australia and Samoa. He's since been to the United States representing Great Britain, getting whiskey tariffs removed, which President Trump said nobody else would be able to do. So, you know, he's keeping on with duties despite this diagnosis going on in the background, and that's his way of coping.
Yeah. Indeed. Cameron Walker, thank you very much for bringing us up to date on this really important story, and it's good to see, I think it's very good to see that transparency in the royal family. I think it helps the British public immensely.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Cameron.
Moving on, almost 10 minutes past 7, Andy Burnham has announced a drive to get thousands of rough sleepers off of the streets by Christmas.
Well, the Prime Minister is attempting a repeat of efforts during the coronavirus pandemic, when the Everyone In scheme resulted in thousands of rough sleepers across England being taken in off the streets.
Well, the latest annual national statistics published by the government in February estimated there were 4,793 people sleeping rough on a single night in autumn 2025 in England.
Well, this was a new record high, and actually the 4th annual increase in a row. Well, let's get the thoughts now of Assistant Editor of The Spectator, Freddie Gray, who joins us now. Very good morning to you, Freddie.
Morning.
As we were saying, this is a noble aim, isn't it? Tell us about these plans. Are they permanent, to get all rough sleepers off the streets permanently, or is it just a temporary measure over the Christmas period?
Well, I mean, the problem with it is a lack of detail, which the Tories have already seized on. James Cleverly has said that there's too little detail in these plans. I think Andy Burnham would like to present it as, you know, a long-term solution to homelessness. The problem with homelessness is it is a sort of unfixable problem. You can bring levels down, levels then inevitably start to creep back up, because it's not essentially about just providing shelter. You know, you can provide all the shelter in the world, and there have been all sorts of schemes to deal with it, but you're always going to have a lingering homelessness problem. Burnham's track record on homelessness is a bit doubtful. I mean, as a lot of people have noted, he aimed to bring it down in Manchester, or to remove it in Manchester. And while his campaign was initially successful, by the time he left, numbers were creeping up again. So it is one of these policies that sound good. There's no downside to it politically. You know, people aren't going to say, yeah, we're really pro-homelessness.
Yeah.
But it feels a little bit like what we've already had a lot of from this government, which is good messaging, well-timed, but it leaves you thinking, is there any substance there?
Yeah, difficult to solve, but I welcome the challenge to do it and the attempt to do it. I think many people will.
I would say, though, I totally agree with you, but I would say it's slightly irritating the way Burnham talks about it, as though previous governments, I mean, he talked about... He said in The Guardian, about it, he said something like, you know, this is an issue that governments have previously just sought to step around rather than fix the problem, as though he is some great charitable person who's seen into the problem of homelessness like no one else has. This has been around forever.
Well, having gone to... I did a report in Manchester about the homelessness there after Burnham made that announcement, and it's clear that there is still a homelessness problem in Manchester, in the centre of Manchester. So, yes, I think this is a good thing for him to be able to do. I think it's going to be difficult for them to achieve.
Maybe say this is a problem you should fix rather than just talking about.
Yes, and I think putting it by Christmas as well is a terrible idea.
It's
but there we go.
Very short timeline, isn't it? Freddie, whilst we've got you, can you react for us, please, to these inflation figures that we've had out in the past 12 minutes or so? UK inflation rate rises to 2.9% in the year to July. That's up from 2.6% in the year to June. The ONS says this is driven by a sharp increase in gas prices following a rise in the household energy price cap. Not good news for the Chancellor.
It's not good news for the Chancellor, and I think it is to do with that energy cap and, of course, the Iran war and oil prices, etc. But I think overall the inflation picture is not the government's biggest problem at the moment. Relative to other countries, we're doing OK on inflation. The problem with this news is it's not coming down quickly enough for the Bank of England to bring down interest rates, I think. We'll find out that in September.
Yeah, because other countries are seeing that. I mean, the United States 3.4%. It was 3.5%. It is higher than ours, of course, but it is dropping as ours is going up. Is there something to say here? And I know the government are going to say they're going to point to the war in Iran. Of course, that's making a massive impact on on household bills. However, you could also point the finger at net zero and other things as well that might be driving the costs up of energy bills.
Well, there's all sorts of causes for inflation, and I mean, I think it is not something you can directly attack this Labour government for, because it's sticky all over the world. We have a major Western problem with inflation at the moment. What I think you can attack the government over economically is gilt yields, you know, and the cost of government borrowing is not under control. It's dipped slightly in the last 24 hours, but from an amazing spike, really. And that is unsustainable. And inflation will not go down until we get that under control.
Yeah, those costs are absolutely astronomical, aren't they? Those gilt yields, yeah.
Freddie, thank you very much.
Great pleasure.
Thanks very much.
Just coming up to 14 minutes past 7, and a major new report claims that Britain could save £320 billion over 20 years by ripping up current net zero electricity plans, keeping gas and building more nuclear power instead.
On GB News Health and Social Affairs editor Lucy Johnson joins us now. Good morning, Lucy. Well, this is interesting, isn't it? I think a few of us might have been saying this for a little while. Tell us a little bit more about this, Lucy. What can be done?
Well, GB News has been looking at this in detail, and what the report's saying is that Britain has among the highest electricity prices in the developed world, and our household prices are second highest only to Germany. And what it's looking at is not just the cost of wind and solar, which are pretty cheap. They're free energy sources from the world, but it's looking at the added costs. It's like a plane ticket, really, that you've also got all these extra costs. So we're paying wind farms to switch off when the wind's blowing too much. We're also paying to balance the grid when there's not enough wind or not enough sun. We're added to that, we're paying huge amounts in carbon taxes. So gas-fired stations have to pay enormous amount in carbon taxes to offset the carbon they produce. That feeds through into our bills, and we're paying for the whole network to bring that wind and solar to households. So that's leading to huge electricity prices. It means that we're not electrifying our systems. We're not buying electric cars. We're not using heat pumps. It means that data centres, industries are being crippled, and even though governments are subsidising those, that still feeds into, it hits the taxpayer. So what this report is saying, we need reliable energy. It's not saying abandon renewables. It's not saying that we don't need to tackle the climate. It says we just need to change the mix a bit. So it's adding more nuclear to the mix, and it's adding a bit more gas to the mix so that we can just have power when we need it. So it's saying we need about 20% gas, and that will bring down those prices. It will mean that energy is reliable, and it will mean that we can start moving towards electrification, because they say consumers are not going to do that when the costs are too high.
Lucy, indeed, it is, something perhaps a lot of us have been talking about for a while here. I do wonder whether the calls to scrap those targets will be heeded by the government, but let's find out. Lucy, thank you very much for joining us this morning to bring us up to scratch on that report. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lucy. 17 minutes past 7, let's take a look at some other stories coming into the newsroom on this Wednesday morning.
Yes, 3 members of the same family have died after getting into difficulty in the water off the Sussex coast, and another younger child was taken into hospital in a critical condition. Ambulances, 2 helicopters and Coast Guards rushed to Shoreham by Sea at 3 p.m. after reports of 4 people struggling in the water. Police said a man, a woman and a teenage girl died after being pulled from the sea.
President Trump says he'll delay imposing new tariffs on a wide array of Canadian goods for 3 days. He says the countries firm up a trade deal. The announcement came less than 2 hours before a 50% levy on nearly $20 billion worth of Canadian imports was set to go into place.
And Ukraine's recently ousted defence minister has called for wartime elections in a bombshell address last night. Well, he stated that the nation faced a crisis of governance and spoke out on wartime corruption. All right, guys, how are you doing?
It's all going wrong.
Was it the microphone that's gone down?
I've just dropped my microphone.
While we get ourselves sorted here in the studio, should we have a little look at the weather?
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office. A very different feel across the UK compared with summer so far. Some bright spells, yes, but also frequent heavy showers, and not just for northern parts of the UK. Some other areas across England and Wales where we desperately need rain have had a splash of rain overnight, not much, and there'll be further showers through the day today. So, yeah, with a cooler feel as well. It's a marked contrast compared with summer so far. But the most frequent showers always across Northern Ireland, Western Scotland, Northern England, where there'll be some hail and thunder, and it will feel notably cool with a brisk breeze. Further south, low to mid-20s in any sunny spells. There will be some fleeting showers. Now, these are going to be very hit and miss. Some places will mostly avoid them and stay dry with sunny spells. Other areas will get a brief shower or two. Not enough to help the current situation, but better than nothing. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland, much of Scotland, plastered with showers, those showers pushing south into northern parts of England. The far north of Scotland, fewer showers. They're not quite as lively here, with cooler air all in all for Shetland as well as Orkney. Now, the showers in the northwest do tend to trickle southwards on Wednesday night into Thursday. As a result, I think we're likely to see more showers for England and Wales by the start of Thursday compared with much of today. Temperatures overnight a little bit fresher, especially towards the north, but still in the teens in many places, so not a cold night by any stretch of the imagination. And we start Thursday with very mixed weather across the country. Some areas seeing heavy rain. The heaviest rain, most likely northern England into parts of Wales, and then that will sink south through the day. Hail and thunder possible anywhere across England and Wales. And with these heavy showers, it's certainly going to be something we've not experienced a great deal of during the summer so far. Also, temperatures down a touch on today, so a notably cooler feel. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, this is an incredible story, isn't it, of the day. A tetraplegic army veteran is preparing to take on 79 miles of gruelling Scottish terrain, controlling his off-road wheelchair entirely with his chin. Now, you heard that right.
Yeah.
We're going to meet him next.
Awesome.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
We can allow.
Stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way.
You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, a tetraplegic veteran is embarking on a 79-mile journey in an off-road wheelchair to prove that life can still be extraordinary.
Yes, Danny Mayer, who served in the Royal Scots Dragoon Guards in Iraq, was paralysed from the neck down after a motorcycle accident 6 years ago.
Well, the 41-year-old Glaswegian is now preparing to travel the Great Glen Way in Scotland, of course, in a major endurance challenge next month. And I'm very thankful to say he's now joining us this morning. Danny, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And this is, wow, what an incredible thing you're doing. How are you feeling about the challenge ahead?
Good morning, Alex and Ellie. Feeling nervous now, being just a month from it. Stand by my idiotic phrase. Definitely that's starting to approach me a little bit more. Hopefully a little bit more inspiring by the end of the journey, but I'm feeling like, you know, as most people do when they take on a challenge, or at least something that's out of their reach, maybe a little chaotic.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, this is absolutely bonkers. You're a complete inspiration for doing it, a complete show of strength, but it is going to be tough. We all know that, don't we? What are you most nervous about before you embark on this challenge? Is it going to be the terrain, the weather, the physical endurance? What's standing out for you right now?
Yeah, you've said them all. I'm in Scotland, so I'm already looking at rain. And it's August, you know, still summer apparently. So by September, the tail end of September, I'm expecting wind, rain, and not coming from the top. You know, this is the stuff that hits you from the side. I'm expecting a very much a big test on my endurance and on my team. But, you know, that probably won't be the test. There's a lot of training that comes with this, as does any challenge and endurance test for someone, but there's a lot behind the team itself, and you know, just the adaptions of my care team, and you know, just the things that probably a lot of people won't take into consideration. The difficulties is not just getting to the start line, but for most people in wheelchairs, and certainly tetraplegics, pardon me, will understand that the level of training and endurance, if you like, just to get to the start line itself. So there's a lot of training going on, yeah.
Danny, your mindset reminds me of my grandmother, Rosemary, who had multiple sclerosis. In the spirits, because she had multiple sclerosis, she couldn't actually move any part of her body towards the later part of her condition. But she always had this incredible will to live and to do things and to challenge herself. And what point did you, after your accident, decide, I want to get on with my life and do something incredible?
Well, I'm glad to hear that your grandmother had, you know, that level of resilience. You just need a bit of stubbornness. I think I've got plenty of that. I think I've got definitely got more stubbornness than I have sensibility, that's for sure. I've been questioned many a times leading up to it. And I think the grand scheme of it, I never really, when we first set out with the challenge, it's kind of, sort of as the days get closer, I think the expedition gets bigger in my head, and the training gets more more involved with my team and outside sources, like media and social media. It just doesn't just become getting up and doing the training. You're trying to project a grit and a stubbornness to other people, and trying to relay that message that whether you're in pain or completely paralysed from the neck down or with multiple sclerosis. I can't believe I tried to say that on news, but
you did. It was perfect as well, mate.
Yeah. And Danny,
managed,
sorry, Danny, I was just about to say you're a veteran as well. How much do you think that military mindset has helped you in terms of that determination and that grit to embark on a challenge like this?
Yeah, huge. I've always been a little bit, the need for a little bit of adrenaline in my life. Jumping from high buildings and trees when I was a kid, and then that just escalated to climbing mountains and motorbikes, which found me in the situation I am right now, unfortunately. But nonetheless, it was being in the army, albeit I joined when I was 16 years old. My first day in training was my 16th birthday, which was probably, no offence to my mum or dad, but one of my best presents ever. So, the army's taught me a lot about adaptation, improvising when things, and I'm not just trying to quote, cheesy lines from the army, but it's drilled right into you. You need to adapt, improvise, and overcome, and that is something that I've been doing my whole life. But even before joining the army, I've got a little bit of that grit and stubbornness as well that gets you over that finish line, I hope, in Inverness.
I'm sure you're going to do it, Danny. I've just, while you were saying adapt and overcome there, one of our viewers, his name's Grumpy Grandad on it, says, good lad, Danny, never give up, adapt and overcome and keep on going. And Ryan says, what a legend. But I guess we should end this on, what's the charity? Where can people go to donate?
Yeah, charity is Regain Charity for tetraplegics, and they can go to Regain's website. They can also go to the Just Giving page, and hopefully, it's all about raising money for tetraplegics and Regain to support other tetraplegics around the country struggling and trying and getting up every day and pushing themselves, and hopefully can touch one person in the country, change someone's life, give them a little bit of motivation just for today or for tomorrow.
Well, Danny, all of our viewers and listeners are right behind you. So many views coming in. You've almost crashed the website here. Hayley says, Danny Maver, what a fantastic man. Lindy Lou's just been in touch saying, what an inspiration to all, wishing him all the best. What an amazing man. So, Danny, thank you so much for your service. Good luck with this incredible expedition.
Everybody.
And come back and talk to us when you've done it.
Well, please, I'll be there.
Fantastic stuff.
Finish. Might see you live in the middle of Scotland somewhere.
Oh, you'll be brilliant. We'll chat to you when you're finished. Good luck.
Take care.
Thanks,
Bye.
Danny.
Thank you.
Top man. Well, look, of course, if you want to donate, www.justgiving.com/page/Danny's-big-challenge-2026.
Yeah, if you just Google that as well, that should pop up for you.
Yes.
Now, do stay with us still to come. We're going to be speaking to the Liberal Democrats, about their leader, Ed Davey's plans to join the EU's migration pact. But before any of that, Paul has your sports.
Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, how long is this going to go on for? So the fight looks like it's going to happen in November. That's Rodri, by the way. He's not wearing that blue shirt anymore. He's gone to Barcelona. More about that in just a second.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M1 northbound is closed at junction 16 in Daventry after a collision. The M27 westbound is closed at junction 2 in Romsey. The M6 northbound has an obstruction between junctions 14 and 15 in Stone. In Scotland, the A78 between Dunlop Street and A8 Raytho Street is closed in both directions for planned roadworks. And on the trains, Greater Anglia has major disruption between Shenfield and Southend Victoria, while East Midlands Railway has a temporary reduced timetable on services. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back. It's 7:35. We're taking a quick look at the sports news now with Paul Coit, who's here with us. Morning.
Rodri has moved from Manchester City now to Barcelona. Talked about it for quite some time. £65.4 million. Only one of 11 players to ever win the World Cup and the Champions League and the Ballon d'Or. But I'm the other one, and there's 9 others. So if you don't know who those, then you can look those up. OK. You believe me, which is really nice, and I appreciate that. Let's look at the boxing, which is going on as well. Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. They did believe me. November the 20th, it looks like it's happening. Madison Square Garden, Friday night, and Madison Square Garden is New York. It's supposed to be a British fight. Well, it is an all-British fight, and this has been talked about for like 10 years. So finally, it looks like these two are going to get it on. But it's going to be a Friday night in New York. So that's what we have. 2 former world champions fighting each other. It hasn't been signed yet, but it is going to happen by the sound of things.
Looking forward to hearing more about it in the next hour, Paul, actually. Very interesting.
Maybe I will.
There we go. All right. Welcome back, of course, to the channel. Now, the Liberal Democrats have said that the UK should join the EU's new Migration and Asylum Pact as a way of tackling small boat crossings across the Channel.
Well, let's speak now to Home Affairs spokesperson for the Liberal Democrats, Max Wilkinson, who joins us now. Very good morning to you, Mr Wilkinson. So you want to speak to us today, and your leader, Ed Davey, saying that Nigel Farage and the Conservatives have deceived the public, you say, by claiming that their botched Brexit deal would protect our borders, and that's as 200,000 people have now crossed the Channel in small boats. You say you've got a solution to this, a way of returning small boat arrivals. Tell us more about this pact.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the EU has just recently introduced the Migration and Asylum Pact, and this is the way that the UK could join a new pact which would mean that we have proper returns agreements with the European Union. We would have access to the database that the European Union keeps as well, which would mean that we would end the double dipping that sometimes happens when migrants seek asylum in the European Union and are refused, but then turn up in the UK for a second go, and that's one of the key drivers, by the way, of the small boat crossings. And it would mean that we can restore safety and control. No one wants to see small boat crossings, but the UK does have a historic role in making sure that there are safe ways for refugees and asylum seekers to get here. But no one wants to see it happen in a disorderly way. And the Liberal Democrats are rightly pointing out today, but we're pointing out that since Brexit, it has become more disorderly. And those people that you mentioned in your intro there, Nigel Farage, Boris Johnson, the Conservative Party and Reform, they said that we would have more control over asylum if we left the EU. And in fact, we've had the opposite.
Mr. Wilkinson, the reality is, though, that these pacts have existed before. We did have a returns pact for people who, you know, might be illegal migrants coming into the country. We put in requests. I'm looking here at some of the data. 2017 there was an outstanding 5,700 requests, but only 314 ever made it back, or at least transferred. So how on earth would this be any better? We're not all of a sudden going to see France accepting 200,000 illegal migrants back, or indeed anywhere near that number. If we could only achieve, whilst we were in the EU, 314 out of 5,700 requests, what would make this any different?
Well, this is talking about what's going to happen in the future. Of course, the 200,000 people who have arrived by small boat crossing since the Brexit referendum, and by the way, there were almost nobody arriving by small boat before Brexit. Those 200,000 people, that's part of our system now, and they're being processed, or they have already been processed. This is about what happens in the future. The EU has worked for 10 years to come up with this new pact, which supersedes the previous one, and is going to bring order and safety to the system. And one of the things it's suggesting, and indeed it compels asylum seekers to do so, is that when asylum seekers arrive in the EU, that they must claim in the first country which they arrive into. And that, of course, means that we will have an end to one of the big problems that we hear about so much in this country, which is that people have gone through several safe countries before they arrive in the UK to claim asylum, which, of course, makes no sense. And, of course, I will go back to one of the key points about this. The Reform Party suggests deploying the Navy, which is a suggestion that is just totally absurd, and it's irresponsible to say that the Navy should be taken away from the key defence tasks that it has for this nation. The Conservative Party and Reform both say that we should leave the ECHR, which would rip up our hard-won rights to things like a private family life, freedom of expression, just for the sake of stopping the small boats crisis. And by the way, leaving the ECHR is not going to stop a single small boat arriving here. Even the Tories and Reform would admit that if we leave the ECHR, the small boats will probably still arrive. We just process people in a different way when they get here. This, which is what we're suggesting this morning, which is the EU Migration and Asylum Pact, is the only comprehensive way in which we're going to deal with this. We can't pretend the UK just exists in supreme isolation. We're only going to deal with the small boats crisis if we have agreements with our nearest neighbours.
All right, Mr. Wilkinson, just before we let you go, can I ask you about something that we're discussing this morning, which is the Prime Minister's pledge to get all rough sleepers off the streets by Christmas. He's hoping to attempt to repeat efforts of what was done during the coronavirus pandemic when everyone was brought in off the streets. Obviously, I think we can all agree this is a noble aim, but it is a very complex issue, isn't it? Do you think it can be done?
Well, if he manages to remove every single homeless person from the streets in time for Christmas Day and put them somewhere safe, then I'm sure we will all be applauding him. It's a noble aim, as you say. My thoughts are that most of the homeless people that I've ever spoken to have a number of different problems in their lives. They might be addicts, they might have mental health difficulties. Some of them might just completely reject the notion that they would be safe if they were under a roof. So I think the Prime Minister has a really difficult task, and at the heart of actually solving the problem in the long term, because we can't just talk about this for one Christmas, is the need to build much more social and counter council housing. And if we get that right, we're much more likely to see fewer people on our streets. And of course, it comes back to the cost of living and cost of housing in general, which at the moment is one of the key concerns for voters across the country. And it's something that we need to get a grip on as a nation. And at the moment, while he's made a few small early announcements, I think there is an awful long way to go.
OK, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Home Affairs spokesperson for the Liberal Democrats, Max Wilkinson. Thank you very much. Yeah, I welcome new ideas to stop the boats crisis. As I said, I just wonder whether this, previous Dublin system proved actually this can't be done, or it's not as effective as they think it is. But there we go.
Yeah. Now, just time to tell you about the Great British Giveaway. We've only got until Friday. Here are all the details you need.
Welcome to Orla Santi by Domes Resorts. There's just 2 days left to see how you can win big in our golden summer celebration. And you could be enjoying a golden year with an incredible £60,000 to be won. That's tax-free cash that you'll get to spend on anything you like. What would you do with it? You could relax knowing that we've got those day-to-day financial pressures sorted. Or find yourself celebrating in the lap of five-star luxury, somewhere like here, the Spritzeria. Plus, we'll give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 that you can keep or gift to a loved one. Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on Friday.
For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, do stay with us. Still to come, Earl Spencer has written a candid memoir about his late sister, Princess Diana's troubled marriage to the then Prince Charles. We're going to go through that with Sebastian and Suzanne in the papers.
But first, here's the forecast for our top European destinations.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's not just the UK where we've seen a change in the weather this week, certainly much cooler across northern and central Europe, with some very lively thunderstorms in places. Now, there are some thunderstorms around on Thursday for eastern parts of Spain into the south of Iberia, for example. But the liveliest downpours and thunderstorms most likely northern Italy into the Alps, and especially around the Italian lakes, where there could be some very significant rain right there through this week and into the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Becky, Chad and the beekeepers, Richard, Mohammed and James. Well, thank you all for coming. So tell us what happened.
So I got a phone call about 7:30 on Sunday evening from one of the rangers to tell us that there was a forest fire that was spreading quite rapidly and the bees were in danger, and if we could get down as soon as we could to get them out.
And I suppose this is a real challenge, because bees, whilst they do flit around all over the place, they're pretty stuck to their colonies.
Yes, absolutely. The boys were the ones that were there.
When we approached it, the fire was quite close to the colonies, so we had to make a decision very quickly on whether or not to remove them from the apiary or keep them there and try and just water down the area. And after we saw flames on the horizon, we decided that, no, we've just got to make the decision to move the bees to a safer place, which we did.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
do think it's worrying that young people, I mean, are they I think they are more risk averse. Yes. I think they are scared of getting into personal space. I think you're right, there are issues about consent and everything else. But how sad that people say that it's been a year since they've been kissed. What is life for if you're not having a little kiss every now and again?
Yeah, the death of the kiss.
Apparently, much younger people now haven't had a good snog in over 12 months on average, the people that have been interviewed. But I would hazard a guess that that's because people are frightened. Men don't know when they can approach women anymore. Men can think 1 or 2 steps ahead on the same board, whereas a woman will think about 18 steps. So
I think you're overthinking it.
If a man takes you to Paris for the weekend, a woman will come back disappointed that they haven't proposed to them, whereas a man thinks they've done a really great thing.
Why do men always think you're going to be proposed to in Paris? That you expect that. We don't
men
expect
are not
that. Just take
emotionally
us to
as
Paris.
intelligent.
The People's Channel.
We're only here for like 12 hours. We're flying home at 11 o'clock tonight.
Oh. And mummy and daughter.
Yeah, and it only costs £70, so we thought, well, why not? Because it's cheaper than a supermarket shop.
Supermarket shop or spending the day in Benidorm with cheap booze.
It's a no-brainer, isn't it? It's a no-brainer.
And is there no chance you might just decide we're going to stay?
No, because my husband would kill me.
We did consider it because I said to my mum earlier on, we might just stay and miss the flight, but she's not up for it.
Has your husband actually visited Benidorm on his own?
No, he hasn't. I've been here 27 times. That's my daughter's first time. She's a Benidorm virgin. But
well,
my husband's never been.
Not that he's told you anyway, let's put it like that.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back. We've got Sebastian here and Suzanne to go through what's making the news. And Suzanne, Princess Diana's unhappy marriage. This is going to be Earl Spencer's latest book.
Yes, so Earl Spencer, of course her brother, has written a memoir about his sister. He says, because of popular request. He says in an exclusive to the Daily Mail, he said, I've been inundated yet again with requests for interviews about her because it's going to be very shortly the 30th anniversary of her death. So he said, that's convinced me to write down my own thoughts and memories once and for all, rather than having the discomfort of again reading the opinions of others, many of which are based on untruths that have become accepted over time. So Swan Song, My Sister, it's going to be published, Diana, My Sister, it's going to be published next month, so no doubt it'll be an instant bestseller and cause the current royal family an enormous amount of headaches. I've no doubt about that. King Charles, I still can't get my head around the fact.
No, a lot of people can't, no.
And the Queen, I think, it's Camilla, but I still think about the Queen. Yes. I'm getting too old, that's what that shows. Anyway.
I think you'll join a lot of us. We all see the words the Queen and think of Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's going to cause Charles a huge amount of headaches because he's going to be in the firing line, I think. Yeah, you can imagine it's not going to be particularly complimentary of the Queen and the King.
No, but I mean, whatever you think of it, whatever you think of him, he's well within his rights to write it.
Yes.
And we can choose not to read it. Not so much for the royals, who, as you say, are going to have to deal with the fallout, whatever it's got in it. So it's going to be a bit of a pain for them.
Yeah, the problem is that the press will pick it up regardless, won't they? So whatever happens, whether you read it or not, it's going to be there. But let's talk about something else, Sebastian, as well. Power shift, moving more power to number 10 North. What do you make of this, including things like, perhaps some economic policies?
That's it. So Burnham's landed on this idea that the Treasury is dealing with growth, but also balancing the books. And sometimes he says these two things can rub against each other. So he's trying to move the growth aspect up to Manchester and have a focused area there to look at that policy area. Quite an important policy area, I think we'd all agree. But it means that number 10 North now is not going to be a gimmick that some people said it would. It's going to have its own carved out area. And I think this is a good direction to go in. The thing that's important to me is that there are civil servants who are living and working in Manchester and who know what it's like to be outside of London, because we know how centralised this country is. We know how much political focus is on London and the South East, and by getting people out, not just getting the train up there once or twice a week, they will see the challenges that they have to face and they will see where the growth needs to lie.
What would the benefit be of moving it to number 10 North?
So you're separating it. So it's not just two different offices in Whitehall. You've got this Chinese wall, essentially.
Bureaucracy, though, isn't it?
Well, no, you're just taking something that's already happening in London and you're moving it to Manchester. So it feels weird to us, but if you look at other countries and how decentralised they are, there are other cities doing important things, whereas most of our major industries are in London, which is why everybody moves here, which is why it's so expensive.
And I think that's the problem, isn't it, really, that London is the powerhouse, the economic powerhouse of the country. So why are we moving it to Manchester? I'm sorry, Sebastian, I don't share your thoughts that it's going to stop it looking like a gimmick. I think it actually is going to make it look even more of a gimmick.
Why?
Because it's why would you take the economic powerhouse of the country and move the Treasury to Manchester? And the huge, we've got massive debt. We're 3 trillion debt. Our interest rates have never been higher. Government debt's never been more expensive. How much is this going to cost? Moving all those civil servants up there, it's a nonsense expense. It is a gimmick, I'm afraid. And of course, the next government coming in, whoever that might be, will probably want to reverse the whole thing. So taxpayers are going to be asked to fork out twice.
I mean, let's define what a gimmick is. It's when you say something is the case and then it isn't really the case. It's just there for show. Whereas literally we are moving civil servants to work on a tangible policy area. So it is the very opposite of a gimmick. And why do you put it in Manchester? Because it's the kind of area that needs growth. You look at Greater Manchester, there are some real pockets of deprivation. So rather than holding these people up in London, which is broadly a very prosperous area, you put it somewhere where you can have more of an effect and you can see the outcomes of the policy that you're working on.
Well, that's personally why I would have put number 10 North in somewhere like Bradford or actually a more deprived area.
There are valid arguments for that as well. Yeah, you've got parts of the Treasury in Darlington.
Because I think that it's important that politicians get out of Westminster.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Very, very quickly, though, we have got another story here, revealed England's friendliest places. Where are the friendliest places?
This is a fun one. So they all tend to cluster in the southwest. So the Isles of Scilly comes out top. Then you've got the fantastically named South Hams in Devon, as well as West Devon. So a lot of sunny seaside areas coming through. But it's done more on how much do you talk to your neighbours, how lonely do you feel, how much of a sense of belonging do you feel, how much local pride is there. And it comes in a week where we saw a report from Demos that talked about national identity and how much pride in Britain has fallen since 2011. But the metric that went up was local pride. So it's interesting to see that people are really holding on to that, and that's coming out through this as well.
That's really nice.
And the worst place, apparently, is Barking and Dagenham in London. Just talking about, I think there's some very deprived areas in London as well. But it's very interesting, the Scilly Islands, you talked about them being centred around the southwest. Maybe that's got something to do with the weather too.
Oh, yeah, and you're nice and relaxed by the seaside. Thank you very much, you two. Let's get checked now on the weather.
Talking of it.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office. A very different feel across the UK compared with summer so far. Some bright spells, yes, but also frequent heavy showers, and not just for northern parts of the UK. Some other areas across England and Wales where we desperately need rain have had a splash of rain overnight, not much, and there'll be further showers through the day today. So, yeah, with a cooler feel as well. It's a marked contrast compared with summer so far. But the most frequent showers always across Northern Ireland, Western Scotland, Northern England, where there'll be some hail and thunder, and it will feel notably cool with a brisk breeze. Further south, low to mid-20s in any sunny spells. There will be some fleeting showers. Now, these are going to be very hit and miss. Some places will mostly avoid them and stay dry with sunny spells. Other areas will get a brief shower or two. Not enough to help the current situation, but better than nothing. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland, much of Scotland, plastered with showers, those showers pushing south into northern parts of England. The far north of Scotland, fewer showers. They're not quite as lively here, with cooler air all in all for Shetland as well as Orkney. Now, the showers in the northwest do tend to trickle southwards on Wednesday night into Thursday. As a result, I think we're likely to see more showers for England and Wales by the start of Thursday compared with much of today. Temperatures overnight a little bit fresher, especially towards the north, but still in the teens in many places, so not a cold night by any stretch of the imagination. And we start Thursday with very mixed weather across the country. Some areas seeing heavy rain. The heaviest rain, most likely northern England into parts of Wales, and then that will sink south through the day. Hail and thunder possible anywhere across England and Wales. And with these heavy showers, it's certainly going to be something we've not experienced a great deal of during the summer so far. Also, temperatures down a touch on today, so a notably cooler feel. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A36 is closed after the A360 in Salisbury. The M23 southbound is closed between junctions 8 to 9 in Reigate. The M27 is closed at junction 2 in Romsey, with delays from the fire. In Scotland, the A737 eastbound has 2 lanes restricted at A761 Elderslie. Across Wales, the A470 southbound from Nantgarv to Corriton is congested with possible delays. And on the trains, Greater Anglia services have major disruption between Shenfield and Southend Victoria, while East Midlands railway services are running a temporary reduced timetable. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's the final week to see how you could win over £65,000 in prizes. You could be our latest Great British Giveaway winner. First of all, we want to give you £60,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, you'll also receive a fine gold bar worth over £5,000.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At the stroke of midnight, the news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Day in, day out. Forget stuffy late night TV shows. We're giving you a front row ticket to the centre of the political universe.
Because breaking news doesn't wait for the morning.
And neither do we. Join us for one of the most controversial and volatile times of politics in human history.
A very big story.
Big story over here.
You won't get this anywhere else. The Late Show live at midnight, every night.
Only on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray,
Are you a human trafficker?
boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. The Queen has spoken for the first time about the emotional strain of keeping the King's cancer diagnosis a secret. It's as she visited a cancer support centre just days after hearing the news herself.
I remember coming to see our Maggie's just after the King being diagnosed. Nobody could say anything at the time. That was quite difficult.
Yes, Her Majesty has opened up about that emotional visit in a new film marking 30 years of the charity Maggie's.
Well, the Queen also highlights the vital support the charity provides to cancer patients and their families at one of the most difficult times of their lives.
Well, the Queen's cancer visit came just 5 days before Buckingham Palace announced the King had been diagnosed with a form of cancer. The Queen also opens up about how he coped with that diagnosis. More details shortly.
And tragedy off the Sussex coast as a couple and their teenage daughter have died after getting into difficulty in the water. A fourth family member, a younger girl, is critically ill in hospital.
Now, I will soon go through that door behind me and issue my first instruction to end rough sleeping in our country.
In politics, the Prime Minister Andy Burnham has announced his plan to end rough sleeping by Christmas. As you remember, it's one of his first major pledges when he first became Prime Minister.
And Britain's sky-high electricity prices are costing households and holding back investment. But a new report claims changing course on net zero could save consumers £320 billion.
brakes are very sensitive, and the pedals are so close together. Here we go, first one.
The IndyCar Series hits the streets of Washington, D.C. this weekend, and GB News has hit the track with our chief US correspondent, Ben Leo, who's been getting behind the wheel for a taste of the action. He is living the life at the moment, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He's always in a sports car.
Got himself a nice little number there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, in sport this morning. Manchester City and Spain captain, although former Man City captain now, Rodri, has signed for Barcelona. Test cricket gets underway again this morning with a less cavalier England against Pakistan at Headingley. Finally, it looks as if the Joshua Fury Battle of Britain will happen, but not in Britain. It's going to be in New York.
Rain, yes, rain across most parts of the United Kingdom during the next few days. Very different compared with the last couple of months, but it's not the most useful rain, coming in the form of hit and miss showers. More detail in the forecast coming up soon.
Good morning. It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Let's get straight into the politics this morning, shall we? Because the Shadow Energy Secretary is making the case for ditching net zero in favour of cheaper energy bills.
Claire Coutinho will argue Britain should focus on making electricity affordable and let consumers' choice be king. Well, we're now joined by Shadow Minister for Energy Security, of course, Andrew Bowie, joining us now. Good morning, Mr. Bowie. Thanks very much for joining us today. Now, you're claiming that you could save consumers £540 per year by prioritising cheap power. Is that drill, baby, drill?
Well, look, drill, baby, drill's a part of it. Of course, we want to maximise what we can get from our own North Sea, but this is more about moving away from this obsession with a net zero grid, a wholly renewables-based system that Ed Miliband and now Miatta Fahnbulleh are driving this country towards, with no comprehension of the hidden costs that are going to fall on British consumers and British businesses. That's constraint payments to pay wind farms for not producing any wind. That's the new grid infrastructure that's going to be needed to bring power from the very diffuse and diverse areas that we're building this new energy generating capacity to where it needs to be. And what we're saying is a different way of doing this. You know, let's push towards electrification. Let's put our foot on the pedal. Let's build more gas. Let's build more nuclear. And yes, where it's affordable and not going to cost the British people prohibitive amounts, let's see more renewables on the grid. That way we get to where we need to get to quicker. We get a cleaner grid, but we do it at a far less of a cost falling on the shoulders of the British people.
You say you want to stop the obsession with net zero when you were the very party that established the 2050 net zero target back in 2019. You've totally backtracked on that now, of course, under Kemi Badenoch, but you're just chasing reform votes.
No, Kemi was critical of our move towards net zero 2050 in 2019. She was one of the few MPs actually in Parliament to speak out against it. She's been utterly consistent on this, and in fact one of her first announcements when she became leader was that we were no longer going to be tied to arbitrary dates and targets such as net zero by 2050, because it was making this country poorer, it was making us uncompetitive, and actually it wasn't dealing with the climate change that we're seeing around the world. So what we need to do is take a much more pragmatic approach, one that prioritises British consumers and British business, one which doesn't lead to the deindustrialisation that we've seen across the country, saves British jobs, makes us more energy secure, but yes, leads us to that cleaner future that we all want to see. But right now, the path that the Labour Party are taking us down is making us poorer, more insecure, and not having any impact at all on global emissions.
Mr. Bowie, your critics will argue this. I'm reading here from the words of your party leader, Kemi Badenoch. She's saying that your party is not in denial about climate change. However, you want to then drill in the North Sea. Now, I'm personally not against that whatsoever, but your critics are going to argue that actually those two things cannot be both true at the same time. If you are not in denial about climate change, then surely drilling in the North Sea will it contributes to climate change. How do you reconcile those two things?
Well, if those critics are saying that we should stop using all gas and all oil and all fossil fuel derived products tomorrow, then fine. That's great. But I don't think they are saying that. And if they are, then they're certainly not serious. because this country is going to rely on gas especially for at least the next 30 to 40 years. So it just makes sense to get what we can out of our own basin, generating much needed revenue for the country, securing hundreds of thousands of high-skilled jobs in the United Kingdom, making us more energy secure as a result, rather than relying on imports from dirtier fields, from other jurisdictions, generating revenue overseas but not here, and actually adding to the carbon footprint of the United Kingdom. So if you want a cleaner future and you want to generate revenue, then you should be all behind our policies to get Britain drilling again in the North Sea.
Can we talk about Rosebank and Jackdaw? The consultation on Rosebank closed this week. Jackdaw, as you know, the consultation ended last week. That decision now sitting with Miatta Fahnbulleh, the Energy Secretary. She will ultimately make that decision. But reports in the past few days that Andy Burnham's government will only approve one of the two in terms of optics surrounding the heat waves that we've had recently. What do you make of those reports? Would opening just one of these oil fields be acceptable to you, or do you think the government needs to approve both projects?
No, I think it shows a total unseriousness at the heart of this government. If they're more concerned about what it looks like on the gram or on TikTok than what it actually means for our energy security or our economy or those hundreds of thousands of high-skilled British jobs, then that just shows a complete dearth of seriousness at the centre of Andy Burnham's government, carrying on from that woeful government that we had under Keir Starmer. We need to see these decisions taken, and taken soon. We need Jackdaw, we need Rosebank, we need it for our energy security, we need it for our revenue, and we need it to secure those jobs here in the United Kingdom, because they aren't here, they're going to go overseas. The oil and gas industry is booming around the world. Just last week we had reports that BP were signing a new contract in Venezuela 2 weeks after they had announced they were pulling out of the UK's North Sea. If that doesn't send a signal to this government about the situation we find ourselves in comparison to our competitors across the world, then I don't know what will.
Yeah, meeting some of our viewers in Aberdeen, they certainly weren't too happy about BP withdrawing from the city. Let's quickly ask you, Mr. Bowie, about this jump in inflation. So a jump from 2.6% to 2.9%. How would you tackle inflation? How would you do a better job than the government?
Well, look, we managed to get inflation under control and down to 2% when Rishi Sunak was Prime Minister. We left government with inflation going down. That was due to hard choices being taken by government, by the Chancellor then, Jeremy Hunt, and by the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. It meant living within our means and not doing everything that maybe we wanted to do, or would have made life a lot easier for us politically as a party, as a government. This government seemed to have learnt no lessons from that and are making unfunded commitments right, left and centre. And frankly, that building behind me having sat empty for 5 weeks now, we haven't even been able to scrutinise any of these announcements that the new Prime Minister has been making. So in a week and a bit's time, we're going to be back in that building. We're going to be holding them to account. We're going to be listening to what their plans are to get the economy, get spending under control, because right now it doesn't look like they've got a clue.
Finally, Mr. Bowie, can we talk about the Prime Minister's latest pledge? He is now pledging to get all rough sleepers off the streets by Christmas. He's hoping to repeat the efforts that we saw during the coronavirus pandemic, that scheme called Everyone In. What do you make of this? I think we can all agree this is a noble aim, but we also know that homelessness is a very complex issue. Do you think it can be done?
Hugely complex issue. Of course, everybody wants to see rough sleeping brought to an end, or at least reduced in the United Kingdom if we can. But Andy Burnham's not got a great track record in this. I mean, under his watch in Manchester, where he also had a similar ambition of ending rough sleeping, he announced that he would end rough sleeping. Rough sleeping actually doubled over the last 5 years in Manchester. So whilst it's a laudable aim, and of course we want to see people not having to sleep on the streets in desperate circumstances, he's going to have to do something markedly different to that what he did in Manchester, because he didn't have any success there.
Mr. Bowie, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and thank you for your time answering those questions. Very generous.
Have a good day.
Thank
you. You too. Just coming up to 11 minutes past 8, the Queen has spoken for the first time about the emotional strain of keeping the King's cancer diagnosis a secret from the public before it was announced to the world.
Yes, and a new film made in collaboration between Buckingham Palace and the charity Maggie's to mark its 30th anniversary. Queen Camilla reveals she was longing to let it out during a visit to one of the cancer support centres in January 2024, just days before the King's diagnosis was officially disclosed to the public.
I remember coming to see Our Maggie's just after the king being diagnosed. Nobody could say anything at the time. That was quite difficult. I almost said something, but I felt that it wasn't the time to say. Looked at everybody who was suffering and all the relations, and I think it made me realise even more how important these places were.
Well, GB News' royal correspondent Cameron Walker joins us now. This is a really candid interview with the Queen, isn't it, Cameron?
Yeah, very open and honest conversation with the chief executive of Maggie's, the cancer charity she's been president of since 2008. And the interview coincides with some new data from a charity which actually shows that since the King was so public about his cancer diagnosis in January 2024, the increase in men seeking support from Maggie's has gone up by 12%. So it's a UK national cancer charity which has 24 centres in major hospitals around the country. The Queen actually said during that interview that she wants one in every single major hospital around the country. It kind of is a place where the holistic approach to cancer care alongside the clinical care takes place. So emotional support both for the patients themselves but also their families. And the Queen spoke very honestly, as you heard there, about how she felt visiting one of the Maggie's cancer centres in London just 5 days before Buckingham Palace announced that the King had been diagnosed with cancer. Of course, very difficult for her because she knew that the King had been diagnosed with cancer at that time and wanted to say something but clearly couldn't without causing a media storm. And yet, of course, it's a way perhaps to show that, the King being open and honest has increased the amount of men seeking support.
Indeed, and it's historical in its sense that the King has done this, because before we would not expect any monarch, particularly a monarch, but royal family members to discuss their private health. We've also seen a range of celebrities, I think, since the King has been so public about his cancer diagnosis, come out and also share theirs. Has this, do you think, generated perhaps a significant cultural shift in the country?
Well, you certainly look at the data from the NHS. I mean, from his separate prostate issue, which is separate from the cancer, but of course the NHS website increased quite a lot for that kind of condition. I can't remember the exact figures off the top of my head, but there certainly has been a huge interest since the King was so open and honest, the first monarch to do so. And what the Queen also talks about in the interview is the fact that the King, the way he copes with it, was by keeping calm and carrying on and keeping as busy as possible, despite perhaps what the doctors were urging him to do, or what Queen Camilla was urging him to do. He was determined. He only took kind of 12 weeks away from public duties before he was back again in April 2024, carried out a major tour to Australia and Samoa, of course, this year with him in the United States, where he managed to get President Trump to agree to remove the whiskey tariffs, adding millions to the UK economy. So the King clearly, as the longest-serving heir apparent, he wants to make the most of being king.
I remember you reporting that at the time, Cameron. 51% spike in visits to NHS online cancer symptom pages after the King came out openly with that diagnosis. Incredible.
Doesn't it just show the power of the soft monarchy?
Yeah, exactly that. Cameron, thank you very much.
All right, should we have a look at some other stories coming into the newsroom?
And this is just such a distressing story. 3 members of the same family have died after getting into difficulty in the water off the Sussex coast yesterday. Another was taken to hospital in a critical condition. Ambulances, 2 helicopters and Coast Guards rushed to Shoreham by Sea at 3 p.m. after reports of 4 people struggling in the water. Police have said that a man, a woman and a teenage girl have died after being pulled from the sea.
Elsewhere, President Trump says he'll delay imposing new tariffs on a wide array of Canadian goods for 3 days as the countries firm up a deal. The announcement came less than 2 hours before a 50% levy on nearly $20 billion of Canadian imports was set to go to place.
And Ukraine's recently ousted defence minister has called for wartime elections in a bombshell address last night. He stated that the nation faced a crisis of governance and spoke out on wartime corruption.
The rain has finally arrived for the south. I know up north, it's parts of Scotland have seen rain for many weeks, but we haven't seen rain for goodness knows how long.
I know. I couldn't believe it, reaching for an umbrella this morning.
I know, it was nice to see.
The plants need it, though. They really do. And the grass.
And the streets, frankly, as well.
Everything needs a wash.
It needs a wash. So let's have a look and see how long that rain might last for, shall we?
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office. A very different feel across the UK compared with summer so far. Some bright spells, yes, but also frequent heavy showers, and not just for northern parts of the UK. Some other areas across England and Wales where we desperately need rain have had a splash of rain overnight, not much, and there'll be further showers through the day today. So, yeah, with a cooler feel as well. It's a marked contrast compared with summer so far. But the most frequent showers always across Northern Ireland, Western Scotland, Northern England, where there'll be some hail and thunder, and it will feel notably cool with a brisk breeze. Further south, low to mid-20s in any sunny spells. There will be some fleeting showers. Now, these are going to be very hit and miss. Some places will mostly avoid them and stay dry with sunny spells. Other areas will get a brief shower or two. Not enough to help the current situation, but better than nothing. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland, much of Scotland, plastered with showers, those showers pushing south into northern parts of England. The far north of Scotland, fewer showers. They're not quite as lively here, with cooler air all in all for Shetland as well as Orkney. Now, the showers in the northwest do tend to trickle southwards on Wednesday night into Thursday. As a result, I think we're likely to see more showers for England and Wales by the start of Thursday compared with much of today. Temperatures overnight a little bit fresher, especially towards the north, but still in the teens in many places, so not a cold night by any stretch of the imagination. And we start Thursday with very mixed weather across the country. Some areas seeing heavy rain. The heaviest rain, most likely northern England into parts of Wales, and then that will sink south through the day. Hail and thunder possible anywhere across England and Wales. And with these heavy showers, it's certainly going to be something we've not experienced a great deal of during the summer so far. Also, temperatures down a touch on today, so a notably cooler feel. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
All right, still to come. Would you house a small boat migrant in your home? Let us know what you think on gbnews.com/your say, and we're going to have a head-to-head debate on that next, so do not miss it.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to
stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Well, tensions are running high after the government unveiled plans to house hundreds of male asylum seekers at a former military base near the picturesque town in Norfolk.
Yes, part of a wider plan to cut down on housing people in hotels. The controversial plan sparked several nights of unrest there and led to multiple arrests.
Well, it does beg the question, though, would you welcome a small boat migrant into your home?
Well, joining us to debate this morning, political commentator Femi Nylander and former Scotland Yard detective Mike Neville. Very good morning to you, gentlemen. Femi, let's start with you. Would you welcome a person who crossed over on the small boat in the Channel into your home?
Yeah, of course I would. I mean, I have a spare room, and I've had multiple people who need to stay in my spare room stay there before, people who are in difficult situations, including people who are immigration problems, not necessarily small boat migrants, but there was one boy who was homeless. He'd actually grown up in the UK. He came here, I think, when he was about 4. When he was 18, he had some problems with his mum, he had to leave. And the UK government decided, even though he'd been here his whole life, he spoke English perfectly, he went through the UK schooling system, that they were going to make his life difficult and start questioning his immigration status, etc., etc., etc. And that made it impossible for him to work, which meant that he ended up homeless. And he stayed in my spare room for about a year. So I think it's important. We claim to be, I mean, I'm not a Christian myself. I'm not very religious, but a lot of people claim this is a Christian nation. If you go through the Bible, you'll find many, many, many verses about helping strangers, helping the refugees, giving shelter to those who need it, etc., etc., etc. And the vast majority of small boat migrants are people who are coming here because they're in some sort of situation of need, like their lives are difficult. I mean, I know a lot of people personally in Morocco, in Africa, in mainland Spain, who've crossed over the desert, crossed over the Sahara Desert to try and get towards Europe, and I can tell you that people don't risk their lives and run the risk of literally drowning in the sea or dying in the Sahara because of the fact that they're for nothing.
OK, let's put this over to Mike on the opposite side of this debate here. Mike, what do you make of this? Would you welcome an asylum seeker into your home?
No, and I am a Christian, and the Good Samaritan didn't take the man to his home. He took him to a local place where he could be treated and used his own money. And when he was well, he went on his way. So that's the Christian viewpoint on this. You do help people, but not to the state of naivety. I've welcomed people into my home as a DCI. One of my sergeants had nowhere to go, so he came to my house, but I knew who he was. I could trust him amongst my children. And there's several cases. I was just looking in 2022, a lady, Brenda Blaney in York, she treated an asylum seeker as her grandchild, really, even went to his graduation ceremony. Her reward was to be beaten to death and throat slashed. This year, we got 2026, an American lady, Jamie Carney, over in America. She again welcomed an asylum seeker into her home in Ireland, and now that man is being sought out for murder. He's fled, and it's an international murder hunt. And there are several cases like this. And when you have children in particular, you don't invite strangers into your home. And many of these are young men, and we know that young men commit the most violent crimes. And we don't know who these young men are. They often come from cultures where violence is completely acceptable. And we can't take the risk with our families. And just like we wouldn't let people into our home who we don't know who they are or what they might do, why are the government allowing the same? It's bad enough that they're in the country, never mind opening your own door and putting your own family at risk.
Femi, would you be concerned about the safety element of letting a small boat migrant come and live with you in your home? Mike listed a number of cases there where things ended very badly.
I mean, you can always cherry pick cases out of thousands of thousands. So you can always cherry pick cases. I mean, I think it's interesting that he used the Good Samaritan. Anyone who looks at the Good Samaritan knows that the whole point of the Good Samaritan, the parable of the Good Samaritan, is something against ethnocentrism, something against painting other groups of people with a wide brush. The whole point of the Good Samaritan is that it wasn't the Jewish priest or the person who was from his own ethnic group that walked along that helped him. The person that helped him was a Samaritan. It was someone who was supposed to be someone that was from a completely different group, someone that Jews were not supposed to even deal with. The whole point of the Good Samaritan is an anti-racist parable, which is supposed to go against the Sorry, let me speak. Sorry, I'm speaking.
Mike, I'll let you come back in. Femi, if you wrap up what you're saying, I'll pass back over to Mike.
Yeah. So the whole point of the Good Samaritan is to argue against painting large groups of other people with a wide brush based on their characteristics. It's exactly what he's doing. And we can look at different Bible verses, such as in Job, where it says, "The stranger did not lodge in the street, but I opened my doors to the traveller." Right. So you can always cherry pick Bible verses to paint your narrative, and you can also cherry pick statistics and cases to fit your narrative. But the truth is, we have a foster system in this country. For example, a lot of small boat migrants, for example, are underage. We welcome stray children that we don't know into our home all the time.
Femi, I want to give a time over to Mike to respond to what you're saying as well. So, Mike, let's go over to you.
So Femi accuses people of cherry picking and then cherry picks the verses himself. There's nothing to do with race. He has made a career out of dealing with race. No, I wouldn't accept a white man who came to this country who I knew nothing around and put him in my house with my family. It's utter nonsense to suggest that people should do that. But to keep bringing up race all the time is a ridiculous situation. We're entitled to keep our families safe. These people come from certain countries. That's not our fault. It's not the nation's fault that they come here. But accusing people of cherry picking and then cherry picking himself, because the Bible says, certain verses, beware of foreigners. So we can all find verses to justify ourselves.
Mike, Femi, we'll have to leave it there, I'm afraid. Thank you very much, both of you gentlemen, for joining us this morning. Let us know what you think. You will certainly have a view, gbnews.com.
Are they coming in? They're certainly coming in. Thick and fast. We'll have a look at those shortly. But first, what should we do? Should we have a look at the traffic and travel?
I think we should. Yeah. Here's your traffic and travel update.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M27 westbound is closed at Junction 2 in Romsey after a fire. The M25 clockwise is affected by a collision between junctions 9 and 10 in Leatherhead. The M1 is closed between junctions 9 and 11A in Luton overnight. In Scotland, the M90 southbound has a queue between Junction 1C at Admiralty and Junction 1B at Ferry Toll. Across Wales, the A470 southbound from Nantgarv to Corriton is congested with possible delays. And on the trains, Greater Anglia has major disruption between Shenfield and Southend Victoria, while East Midlands Railway has a temporary reduced timetable. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it. Don't get us on the BBC. Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. What we're going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
first of all say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
The Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. Time to go through all the latest sports with Paul Coyte.
For the cricket purists, the Test match is back. England playing Test cricket because after we've had the 100. So it's all changed, really, with England because Joe Root is now the captain. Well, I say all change again. He was the captain, and then we had all the problems with Ben Stokes, etc., and Bazball and the swashbuckling style, which now looks like that's gone out the window for the time being. So now Joe Root's back as captain. They're playing Pakistan. It's at Headingley, gets underway this morning. So, is it going to change? Is it going to be much different? This is what Joe Root had to say.
I don't think there's a huge amount that we need to change. I think it's small things that will make a big difference. And it's not about ripping it up. I think it's about keeping a lot of the good stuff that we've been doing for a period of time and that Ben and Baz built for a long while, but making small adjustments that in-game will make a big difference. So giving clarity to the group on what that looks like and then putting into place over and over again.
I think those small differences are when the ball comes over, don't try and hit it for six every time the ball comes over. I don't know whether that's what it is, but anyway, it gets underway at Headingley this morning. I've got some changes in the football in the Premier League. Few things that are going to change for the season. 10 seconds to make a substitution now. So if not, then you're in trouble.
10 seconds?
So
10 seconds.
no dilly-dallying.
No dilly-dallying on the way.
What? Why?
Because it's time wasting. So much time wasting.
Time though. You get a bit of extra time at the end.
It's just like sometimes you think, oh, come on. And it's like, for example, like throwing in a goal kick. There's going to be a 5-second countdown. It's like, take it now, right, off you go, 5 seconds, and if not, then the other side will get the ball.
But it's all becoming very regimented, isn't it? It's the thing, like, you've got VAR and everything's becoming a bit robotic, isn't it? Part of the game, a bit of theatre, a bit of the drama.
Well, yeah, a bit of housery, you mean, all that bit of time wasting and some of that stuff that goes on. It's the same with goalkeepers as well. It's like goalkeeper falls on the ground injured, then one of the outfield players is going to have to go off for a while, for 1 minute. It's just trying to speed it up a little bit. But like you say, sometimes these seem like good ideas, but then does it actually work? Well, they're going to see anyway. And also with the ref cams, because often then they can go back and they can see, you know, what's going to... They're going to have audio as well. So what players say to referees, then we'll be able to see that afterwards. But I think it would be good maybe if we could see it all there and then. You want to see kids?
Oh, I was going to mention boxing. Well, I was going to mention
is that what that was?
I was trying to do the boxing.
There's a woman that's never thrown a punch in her life. I was thinking, what was that?
I actually haven't ever thrown a punch.
Well, that's a good thing.
That was my impression.
Let's keep it that way.
Anyway.
I think what we were going to do, I was, of course, the boxing, and this is Joshua and Fury. It looks like it's going to happen 20th of November.
Oh, it's my birthday.
Oh, well, that's why
I had a feeling this was going to happen.
That's why it's in New York.
There's going to be one night, and it will be my birthday. I knew it.
That's
go
it.
and watch it.
Well, yeah, maybe we should ask.
You could go over there, throw your first punch, be there for the fight and everything. It'd be great.
It'd be a great fight.
Well,
who's going to win?
Why is it going to New York? Is this money again?
Yeah, of course it is.
Money.
Everything around boxing, everything around sport. It's all about money. But it should be held here. This is a British fight, and the thing is, they're not even fighting for a title, for crying out loud. This is really because Britain wants to see it. Because America want to see it. Are they really bothered? Right. But it's all about the money. And then what time is it going to be on? 3 o'clock in the morning?
It needs to be a 5 p.m.
It makes me mad.
It
really does. It makes me mad. Should we see some of the kids? Let's do some of the kids.
Even though we hate them all.
I know you've hated them all so far, but I've chosen some other ones that maybe you like.
And by the way, every single one of the viewers agreed with us and said they were ghastly.
Really?
Yeah.
See, we all like the old style.
We do.
We do like the old
We're
style.
traditionalists.
But most of these, interestingly, are throwbacks. Some to the 90s, one even going back to 1937. But have a look at this. We're going to... Right, so marks out of 10, please. Bournemouth away. Oh. It's lavender.
No.
It's dreadful.
No.
Marks out of 10?
It's like pyjamas. 2. And though I've seen a lot of controversy about that logo being slapped on the front. It looks absolutely horrendous. 0.
OK.
Dear.
0.
Okay,
fine, right.
Okay.
Right, let's go with Hull then. Now, I like Hull City. This is the away. The central crest, the oversized shoulder.
I like it.
Neat and tidy.
Yolks.
I'm giving it 7.
I'll give it a 6.
It's like a 1980s jumper, the one on the right. I like it.
Yeah.
OK, we don't mind. It's in the lead. Right, let's go to Liverpool. Now, this doesn't look much different from other Liverpool shirts because this is a throwback to 1989, the old candy kit with the triangular flex.
Yeah.
Oh, is that flex on the shirt?
That's flex as in F-L-E-C-K.
E-C-K, yes. No, not a fan. 3.
3? Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Dear.
Out of 10.
OK, right, let's try this one. This is a real
Hate
throwback.
it. 0.
Oh, now, come on, you haven't even looked at it. You're just shouting it.
I'm not too opposed to this one. Is that a collar, though?
Yes, it's a collar. It's a salute to 1937 winning side.
I like it.
So 90 years. They've got names of the players of 1937 written. I like it.
I like it too,
shirt.
I'd give that. It's a bit different, actually. I might even go for an 8.
Well done, Alex.
Yeah.
And 2 from you.
It looks like a darts shirt, so 0.
It's because it looks like balls. It looks like bully. Right, finally, let's go with this one. Arsenal. I'll give it 0. It's the home shirt. Subtle.
It's classic, isn't it?
Subtle visual references to Arsenal moving to the Emirates Stadium 20 years. I don't know whether there's little books because it's like a library. I don't know whether...
I can't see that from it.
No, I can't see that.
I mean that. But what do you think of that? It's not much different apart from the Adidas stripe is a bit different.
No, I like it. It's fine.
I think it's 9 out of 10.
Not controversial.
You're 9 out of 10 from Spurs fan.
I know, but it's not for Arsenal. It's just for the shirt.
Purely for the fashion.
Yeah.
9 out of 10. Okay,
and it's just classic, timeless, very good.
OK.
Thank you,
That's the fashion segment of the show.
Very good. Fashion corner.
More will do shoes tomorrow.
Yeah, we look forward to it.
Thank you very much, Paul. In the meantime, let's get a great British giveaway in. 60 grand, tax-free cash, gold bar. And where is Hayley Sparks?
Welcome to Orla Santi by Domes Resorts. There's just 2 days left to see how you could win big in our Golden Summer celebration.
And you could be enjoying a golden year with an incredible £60,000 to be won.
That's tax-free cash that you'll get to spend on anything you like. What would you do with it?
You could relax knowing that we've got those day-to-day financial pressures sorted.
Or find yourself celebrating in the lap of 5-star luxury, somewhere like here, the Spritzeria.
Plus, we'll give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 that you can keep or gift to a loved one.
Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on Friday.
For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, still to come, a list of 30 films and TV series that you must have watched to be considered cultured. Can you guess what's on the list?
No, can you?
Well, I've read the list, so yes.
Okay. All right, then. Well, that's that. Here's the forecast for your European destinations.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean all clear skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's not just the UK where we've seen a change in the weather this week, certainly much cooler across northern and central Europe, with some very lively thunderstorms in places. Now, there are some thunderstorms around on Thursday for eastern parts of Spain into the south of Iberia, for example. But the liveliest downpours and thunderstorms most likely northern Italy into the Alps, and especially around the Italian lakes, where there could be some very significant rain right there through this week and into the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
I might shock you because I do understand why there are people that perhaps will need to take this because of medical issues. I get that, urgent medical issues. But let's face it, this is actually the greedy goods pill. That's what this is. Do I think it will make people lazy in society? Common sense, of course it will. We all want the magic pill. The concern, of course, with the pill, I'm sure the pharmacists will agree, is the potential side effects of these pills. We need to take personal responsibility in the UK, and at the moment, when it comes to health and many other things, we don't.
Thorin, I could see you shaking your head a little bit there. What do you think?
Well, look, it's not a magic pill. It's a medical intervention for a complex condition. I think calling people lazy is just an easy thing to do because it assumes that people who are struggling with weight just need more motivation.
The People's Channel. Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
I'm thrilled to say now I'm joined by another World War II veteran.
In my judgment, the Mosquito was a better aircraft because it's got 2 Spitfire engines.
And you flew it all over Europe. You told me that you had a particularly memorable flight near Berlin. What happened there?
A shell came up underneath, and it lifted up the aircraft and it interfered for a brief period with the fuel supply. I didn't know. All I knew was I'd got the propellers were windmilling around and we hadn't any power. And eventually the power came on again. And I leaned across to Doug, my navigator. He was a Canadian, a wonderful bloke. And I said to him, you weren't frightened, were you, Doug? And he said, no, I wasn't frightened, I was bloody terrified.
GB News.
We're only here for like 12 hours. We're flying home at 11 o'clock tonight.
Oh. And mummy and daughter.
Yeah, and it only costs £70, so we thought, well, why not? Because it's cheaper than a supermarket shop.
Supermarket shop or spending the day in Benidorm with cheap booze.
It's a no-brainer, isn't it? It's a no-brainer.
And is there no chance you might just decide we're going to stay?
No, because my husband would kill me.
We did consider it because I said to my mum earlier on, we might just stay and miss the flight, but she's not up for it. Has your husband actually visited Benidorm the Zone?
No, he hasn't. I've been here 27 times. That's my daughter's first time. She's a Benidorm virgin. But
well,
my husband's never been.
Not that he's told you anyway, let's put it like that.
GB News, the People's Channel.
All right, let's take a look at some of our newspaper front pages this morning, shall we?
Yeah, firstly in the Telegraph, King Charles said he would cope with cancer in his own way after receiving his diagnosis. This has been revealed by the Queen.
Indeed. And leading in The Guardian, Andy Burnham, the Prime Minister, has urged local leaders to offer every rough sleeper in England a route off the streets by Christmas.
The Daily Mail leads with the tragic story of 3 family members who drowned off the West Sussex coast yesterday afternoon.
And then the Daily Express also leads on the Queen's revelations about her struggle following the King's cancer diagnosis.
Well, joining us to go through the papers this morning, Sebastian and Suzanne. Very good morning, both of you. Suzanne, let's start with a story about scarecrows.
Yes.
Tell us more.
Absolutely. So there's a little village in Lancashire, and a teenage passenger died when a speeding driver crashed a couple of years ago. And the locals are now a little bit confused by the fact that police are suggesting that in order to solve their problem of drivers speeding through their village, they create scarecrows. And they have invited them. The police say, well, we import the timber, and you can bring clothes and paint for signs and make a scarecrow. And I don't know if you can see it, but that's the sort of scarecrow that they're suggesting that the locals make. So it's in a high-vis jacket with a police helmet or something approximating it, and a fake speed camera.
It works?
Well,
it's very creepy.
Well, interesting.
It is very creepy. It worked one time.
But I think that's not quite what we expect of the police, I don't think, when it comes down to hunting down dangerous motorists. But hey-ho, this is what the police in Lancashire are suggesting that the locals might like to do.
Based on, it's not the first time they've done this. A few years ago, a village down the road did one. They called it Speedo. Well, they're thankfully more modestly dressed than you might expect in all the high-vis gear.
There you go. It's fascinating that I just thought the good old-fashioned speed cameras were the way to do it, but there you
cheaper
go.
option, cost-cutting.
It would make you slow down, though.
Maybe they should do ones little scarecrows for Sadiq Khan for ULEZ around the London. We could just put them around and have like a ULEZ. So there you go. Maybe that will stop them. Right, let's have a look at something else. Where should we go? This is joyriding gangs. Terror to Ireland's roads.
Yeah, this one's a bit scary. So you might have remembered a few days ago there was a story about 5 young men in Ireland who died because they were driving the wrong way down the motorway. So it's now been thought that they're part of this group called the Lucky Dip Gang, who they steal cars at random, and that's why they're called the Lucky Dip Gang. And then they drive them down the wrong way. They zigzag, avoid the police, and apparently they don't do it for the cars. They do it to film it and put it online, which is terrifying. Imagine if you're a driver in the Dublin area, you'd be feeling pretty unsettled right now.
Yeah, it's really terrifying reading this story, actually, about the long list of convictions that these gangs have. You know, the most prolific 11 of them between them have 427 convictions. That's an average of 39 each, but one of them's got 91. And the problem, apparently, is that because of their age and because the crime is considered to be non-violent, which I think is a joke. If you're driving the wrong way down the motorway, you're looking at attempted murder, I'd suggest. But no, because of their age and because apparently what they're doing is considered non-violent crime, they're not being given custodial sentences. So they're on the streets, allowed to run riot. It's absolutely terrifying. Let's not forget, they were killed, but there are 3 sisters and a 7-year-old who are still seriously ill in hospital because they hit their car.
Very, very, very sad. And also, you know, these young kids as well. I don't think it's one of those things you see a lot of kids when they're young driving unsafely.
Yes, very much so.
They speed. They don't wear their seatbelts. And you get older and you start to have families and you grow up and then you start to think of the consequences of your actions. So I think, again, a bit of tough justice might sort out the problem.
Tough justice, not scarecrows, because that's not going to stop us.
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not.
We need to be much tougher, I think, on road crime.
Yeah, absolutely. Suzanne, let's talk about just the most horrific story that occurred yesterday in Shoreham.
Yeah, another absolute tragedy. We had 3 members of a family drowned off the West Sussex coast. Now, I think Shoreham Harbour, where this happened, it's known to have strong currents. The RNLI frequently warns about strong currents. Now, what exactly happened, I don't suppose we know yet, but according to the Daily Mail, they're talking about witnesses who said the children were fishing off the harbour and one of them fell in, and so then the others went in to try and rescue them, and I'm afraid, yes, it absolutely ended in tragedy.
Oh, absolutely.
And, of course, it's the second such tragedy this year. You might remember back in May there were 3 sisters drowned on Brighton Beach.
It's just awful.
And Sebastian, it also comes off the back of so many people drowning in trying to just get caught in the heat waves, going into reservoirs or to rivers, and I think people underestimate the power of water.
It's so dangerous, isn't it? So dangerous. And sadly, what you get is people going in trying to save other people very nobly and end up dying as well. So you get double the tragedy.
Yeah, you do.
Very sad.
And of course, we're all thinking about the little girl, another member of this family, the 4th member of this family, who also entered the water yesterday. She is still in hospital, and we understand the critical conditions. Of course, we're thinking about her.
Yeah, indeed we are. Right, let's move on to something a little bit more cheerful, shall we? Because I haven't cheated like Ellie's cheated. Yeah. Right?
I thought it was going to be our conversation at the top of the programme, which is why I did my research.
Yeah, you did your research. And so Sebastian, how to be cultured today? So a poll of 2,000 Brits has revealed 30 films and TV shows. Yeah. What should we make of this?
So the idea is that knowing films, being able to quote them, being able to talk about them, is as useful as being able to read books and talk about literature, which I would reject in the strongest possible terms. But 44% say it's useful as a social asset, 39% say it's useful when you're chatting online. It's probably true. It's probably why I'm so bad at keeping conversation with people. So I've seen none of these.
Have you not?
I've seen, hang on, I did a count. I've seen 5 out of the 30, which is really poor. Suzanne, you were in my league. Stand up for me.
I've actually... you're certainly not difficult to have a conversation with, Sebastian, I can assure you of that. So I don't know where you've got that idea from. But yeah, among the 30 screen gems, I've seen 12 and a half.
That's pretty good.
And I say a half, yeah, because I don't think of myself as a film buff at all. But some of them, you know, things like Pride and Prejudice, the TV series, or Slumdog Millionaire, The Handmaid's Tale, which I was absolutely gripped by and have read the book as well. Great. There's some really, really good ones. Yeah, 12 and a half. Half because I've only seen half of Game of Thrones. I haven't seen the end.
Yeah, I've seen 12 on this list. So number 1 is actually The Godfather. Is it The Godfather?
No,
yes,
I haven't seen that one.
The Godfather.
I need to see that. The Matrix.
The Matrix is number 2. That's
I've never seen The Matrix.
No,
is it worth it? Should I bother?
I mean, it's a franchise now, isn't it? So I always say watch the first, because they don't always intend to make them a franchise. Watch the first one. I think it's meant to be a sort of a look about, it's a fantasy look at humanity, but what is it?
Game of Thrones, number 3, which I think to this day is the best thing I've ever seen on TV.
No, ever. Absolutely brilliant. Love
As
it.
unlike anything ever made before. It's just brilliant.
Peaky Blinders, I started to watch that, didn't like it. Gave up on that.
For everybody,
it's a great British classic there.
Breaking
very
Bad,
good.
amazing, but went on a bit too long.
What else is on here? The Walking Dead. I mean, really? Really? Is The Walking Dead like a culture thing? Is it like, am I completely off the mark here?
I don't know.
It's a zombie apocalypse fantasy. Like, I mean, how can you be cultured about it? I don't really understand.
A lot of these, though, there are so many references to them in popular culture.
Right,
I suppose you need to watch them to fully understand.
And some good British names in here as well. Train Spotting.
Yeah.
Sherlock. Some iconic characters
Adolescence,
there.
as always, is on the list.
Yeah.
We have an obsession in this country about adolescence.
At number 22.
Did you watch it?
I saw a bit of it. I didn't finish it, I've got to admit.
The filming of it drove me absolutely mad. I know, Suzanne, we were talking about this off air, weren't we? You were saying it was really well done.
I liked the way they filmed. I thought it was very innovative, very clever.
All done one shot, wasn't it?
One shot, very clever, but I can see why you might get a bit bored with it. Black Mirror's also on the list.
I was going to say,
which is genius.
Phenomenal.
Genius.
Not the more recent ones. They've sort of it's been bought by Netflix and it's become a bit American. But the initial, I forget the Charlie Brooker. Charlie Brooker, thank you. Initial first 2 seasons were absolutely phenomenal and a real, I think actually, perhaps even predicting the future of what our planet could be like.
Unfortunately, yes.
Even
terrifying,
now.
but yes, it is, absolutely.
Becoming more like with artificial intelligence, robotics. Quite scary, so I think it's a good warning. It's a bit Orwellian in that respect. It should be seen as a warning to society, not a drama. Blue Planet.
Blue Planet, obviously brilliant.
Phenomenal.
Dunkirk, I think it's an absolute must-watch for
Oppenheimer,
everybody.
did we mention
I loved Oppenheimer. I watched that recently on a plane.
Yeah, I did the Barbieheimer thing.
Oh, did you?
Yes, that's it,
That's quite the
Barbieheimer, isn't it? Yeah, so you saw Oppenheimer in the morning and Barbie in the afternoon. I was amazed, actually. I thought Barbie was really good.
There you go.
Didn't expect to like it.
Both were great films.
But I did.
Hasn't made the list, though.
No, but it's not
The Crown,
Barbie's
of course.
not cultured.
Crown has made the list. I think that's very important. Good drama. Good drama.
So there you go. That's the list. Let us know how many of those you've watched. And if you think they're a must-watch as well.
Right, thank you very much, you two, for joining us for Papers this morning. Very good fun, as ever.
Yeah, good to have your company. Thank you.
It is. Still to come, Andy Burnham's pledging to take all rough sleepers off the streets by Christmas. But is it doable? We're going to get into that next. But first, we have a little look at the weather, and finally, it seems to have rained.
Yes, finally. We reached for the brollies for the first time in months this morning, it felt like. Let's get all the details, shall we, with Aidan McGibbon.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office. A very different feel across the UK compared with summer so far. Some bright spells, yes, but also frequent heavy showers, and not just for northern parts of the UK. Some other areas across England and Wales where we desperately need rain have had a splash of rain overnight, not much, and there'll be further showers through the day today. So, yeah, with a cooler feel as well, it's a marked contrast compared with summer so far. But the most frequent showers always across Northern Ireland, Western Scotland, Northern England, where there'll be some hail and thunder. And it will feel notably cool with a brisk breeze. Further south, low to mid-20s in any sunny spells. There will be some fleeting showers. Now, these are going to be very hit and miss. Some places will mostly avoid them and stay dry with sunny spells. Other areas will get a brief shower or two. Not enough to help the current situation, but better than nothing. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland, much of Scotland, plastered with showers, those showers pushing south into northern parts of England. The far north of Scotland, fewer showers. They're not quite as lively here, with cooler air all in all for Shetland as well as Orkney. Now, the showers in the northwest do tend to trickle southwards on Wednesday night into Thursday. As a result, I think we're likely to see more showers for England and Wales by the start of Thursday compared with much of today. Temperatures overnight a little bit fresher, especially towards the north, but still in the teens in many places, so not a cold night by any stretch of the imagination. And we start Thursday with very mixed weather across the country. Some areas seeing heavy rain. The heaviest rain, most likely northern England into parts of Wales, and then that will sink south through the day. Hail and thunder possible anywhere across England and Wales. And with these heavy showers, it's certainly going to be something we've not experienced a great deal of during the summer so far. Also, temperatures down a touch on today, so a notably cooler feel. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M27 westbound is closed between junctions 10 and 9 in Whiteley. The M1 is closed between junctions 9 and 11A in Luton. The M62 eastbound has an obstruction between junctions 11 and 12 in Birchwood. In Scotland, the M9 eastbound has 3 lanes restricted at junction 1 in Newbridge East off Slip. Across Wales, the M4 eastbound at J33 Capel Llanilturn is congested. And on the trains, Greater Anglia services are facing major disruption between Shenfield and Southend Victoria, while East Midlands Railway services have a temporary reduced timetable. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's the final week to see how you could win over £65,000 in prizes. You could be our latest Great British Giveaway winner. First of all, we want to give you £60,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, you'll also receive a fine gold bar worth over £5,000.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. The Queen has spoken for the first time about the emotional strain of keeping the King's cancer diagnosis a secret. It's as she visited a cancer support centre just days after hearing the news herself.
I remember coming to see our Maggie's just after the King being diagnosed. Nobody could say anything at the time. That was quite difficult.
That's right. Her Majesty has opened up about that emotional visit in a new film marking 30 years of the charity Maggie's.
The Queen also highlights the vital support the charity provides to cancer patients and their families at one of the most difficult times of their lives.
That emotional visit came just 5 days before Buckingham Palace announced the King had been diagnosed with a form of cancer. The Queen also opening up about the King's coping mechanism for the disease. More details shortly.
And moving on, tragedy off the Sussex coast as a couple and their teenage daughter die after getting into difficulty in the water. A fourth family member, a younger girl, is critically ill in hospital.
Now, I will soon go through that door behind me and issue my first instruction to end rough sleeping in our country.
In politics, the Prime Minister Andy Burnham has announced his plan to end rough sleeping by Christmas. Remember, that was one of his major pledges when he first became Prime Minister.
Yes, Andy Burnham has a big, bold plan to get people off the streets for Christmas. But has he built himself a useful loophole in that wording? Find out more with me very soon.
And also, Britain's sky-high electricity prices are costing households and holding back investment. But a new report claims that changing course on net zero could save consumers £320 billion.
The brakes are very sensitive, and the pedals are so close together. Here we go, first one.
Ben Leo's having a whale of a time, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Washington, D.C. The IndyCar Series has hit the streets of Washington, D.C. this weekend, and GB News has hit the track. Ben Leo getting behind the wheel for a taste of the action.
Rain. Yes, rain across most parts of the United Kingdom during the next few days. Very different compared with the last couple of months, but it's not the most useful rain, coming in the form of hit-and-miss showers. More detail in the forecast coming up soon.
Good morning, it's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Oh, we've got you all going on this list that we were just discussing in the papers. It's the 30 films and TV series that you have to watch in order to be cultured.
Yeah.
Mel's been in touch saying, I wonder why Schindler's List is not on this list of 30 films and TV that you have to watch. Possibly it's the best film ever.
Absolutely agree, because I didn't see this list before we went into that segment, and I thought immediately Schindler's List has to be on this, but it's not.
Yeah, it's a vital watch, I think.
But Adolescence is.
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Yes, but Schindler's List, I agree with you, Mel. That's a very, very good one.
Famous documentary, Adolescence.
Yes. Jules says, Alex, you're so wrong about The Walking Dead. I've been watching it for years. I started to watch it from the beginning a few times now.
I have to say, I have watched the first couple of seasons of Walking Dead. I just don't know whether it makes you cultured. It's a great show. That's all. I was just wondering whether it makes you cultured, that's all.
Yeah.
No offence to anyone Walking Dead fans, of course. Game of Thrones is on the list. We've just been discussing that here. A split between Ellie and Cameron, who didn't like the last season. Me and Liv both liked the last season, didn't we? Yeah, both feel like I felt it was more accurate.
It was too rushed, I thought. I thought they
exactly,
rushed it, tried to tie up all the storylines.
It was ruined at the end.
Yeah.
Grumpy Grandad says, I watched the first few episodes of Game of Thrones, really good. But I don't like it when series go on and just take over your life.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah,
really.
I think, you know, a series has the royal seal of approval when the Queen sits on the Iron Throne at Titanic Studios in Belfast. She did that during film.
Very good point. I forgot about that. Yeah, very good point. Well, she's most accurate to actually sit on that throne.
Definitely.
Makes sense.
All right, keep those views coming in.
All right, moving on. Queen Camilla has spoken for the first time about the emotional strain of keeping the King's cancer diagnosis a secret from the public before it was announced to the world.
Well, in a new film made in collaboration between Buckingham Palace and Maggie's to mark the charity's 30th anniversary, Queen Camilla revealed she was longing to let it out during a visit to one of their cancer support centres in January of 2024. This was just days before the King's diagnosis was officially disclosed to the public.
I remember coming to see our Maggie's just after the King being diagnosed. Nobody could say anything at the time. That was quite difficult. I almost said something, but, you know, I felt that it wasn't the time to say. Looked at everybody who was suffering and all the relations, and I think it made me realise even more how important these places were.
Well, we're here with GB News' royal correspondent, Cameron Walker. Cameron, yeah, I guess this is nice to see the Queen is opening up. Not just, of course, we've had the King open up against about his cancer struggle, but as we know, cancer affects the people around you and your loved ones too. So important message from the Queen too.
Well, exactly. Often we focus on those who've actually are going through the disease, but of course it is those loved ones around them which also kind of suffer perhaps in different ways. And that, I think, is what the Queen was alluding to during her chats with Maggie's chief executive. 30th. It's the 30-year anniversary of the charity, and the Queen's been president of that charity since 2008. There's 24 centres around the UK, and what the conversation coincides with is new data from that charity, which suggests that since the King made his cancer diagnosis public, they have seen far more many men try and seek support from the Maggie's Centre. So it's gone up by 12% since the King's cancer diagnosis in January 2024, which I think is quite telling. Of course, Maggie's, there's 24 centres around the UK. It's kind of the way of marrying the holistic approach to cancer care alongside the clinical medical interventions. So more about the emotional well-being and support for both the patients and their families. So that's what the Queen is trying to champion. But of course, she does go into her personal detail and how hard it was for her keeping it a secret, knowing full well that her husband, the King, had been diagnosed with cancer just 5 days later, Buckingham Palace, after that visit at a hospital in London. Buckingham Palace announced the King had been diagnosed with a form of cancer. What, of course, she also talked about was how the King copes with it, and that was by just keeping calm, carrying on, stepping up his public engagements. He only took kind of 12 weeks out of public engagements, and then, of course, later on that year went on a huge tour of Australia and Samoa, and, you know, even this year was out in the United States doing some, well, not doing trade deals, but, well, in President Trump's words, persuading him to get rid of the whiskey tariffs on the UK, adding millions to the UK economy.
And we did get some insight, didn't we, from this interview about the King's attitude during all of this. And you could see his late mother, I think, in that attitude. It was very stoic, keep calm and carry on. I will cope with this in my own way.
Yes, and the Queen has spoken in the past about trying to get the King to slow down is quite tricky. And also he should do as he's told, the Queen says, referring to what the doctors are telling him to do. You know, we know that the King's cancer diagnosis, according to royal sources, it's going in a positive direction. Of course, in December, he spoke very much on the record about it, saying it was a blessing that the frequency of his cancer treatment could be reduced in the new year. That's now happened. He is still undergoing cancer treatment, but going in a positive direction, according to royal sources.
OK, Cameron Walker, thank you so much.
Thank you indeed. And sticking with the royal theme, because almost 30 years now since the death of the former Princess of Wales, Diana, which has loomed large among the British public, hasn't it?
Well, the royal family are now bracing for more bombshells after her brother, Earl Spencer, has revealed that he's written a new memoir about his late sister and the circumstances surrounding her death.
Yes, it's called Swan Song, which will be published in September. It's going to cover Diana's unhappy marriage to the then Prince of Wales and the aftermath of her shocking death in 1997.
Well, let's speak now to friend of the programme and royal commentator Jenny Bond, who joins us now. Very good morning to you, Jenny. How do you think the royal family are going to feel about this?
I think they'll be fairly relaxed about it. It's not as if Earl Spencer is an enemy of the royal family. I know when he made his oration after Diana's funeral, I was there, that it was taken very much as an attack on direct members of the royal family, but he didn't actually intend it as such. He was setting out his view of what Diana meant to the world and what she meant to her sons. So I think this is going to be a really important book, actually. I think it's going to be fascinating for the wider public, and particularly for people like me, people perhaps he's directing his remarks at. He says, you know, he's sick and tired of reading and about and hearing people talk about Diana and getting it wrong. Now, I hope I'm not one of those, because I did know her and I think what I've said is accurate, but maybe I am one of those. And who is better placed than her own brother to say it as it was back then, 30 years ago?
Jenny, is there a concern, perhaps, that the current monarch, King Charles, will be thrown a little bit under the bus here? We all know the history. The marriage didn't obviously end very well, did it? But is there a concern that the King may come off very badly, and perhaps even the Queen, as a result of this book?
I think there may be some difficult parts of this book for the royal family to read. Those years, if you lived through them and reported on them, you would know that they were deeply troubling years for the royal family, deeply hurtful years for Diana, but for Charles as well. He did not want that marriage to break down. At least that's my view of it. To hear what her own brother how he viewed it from his perspective in those crucial years of what we used to call the War of the Waleses is going to be, I think it's not just interesting, it's going to be, I think, historical fact, because Charles Spencer is a historian, he's a noted author, he's a journalist, he's a man who gets things right and gets things accurate, he's not a sensationalist. So I think this is going to be an historical record of what happened. And, as you say, it may be difficult reading, but that does not mean it's not important reading.
Well, Jenny, Earl Spencer says that he hopes this memoir, and in writing this memoir, he's going to enable people to understand who Diana really was. Now, as you say, you knew Diana very, very well. Do you think it is going to reveal a part of the late Princess Diana that we as the public haven't seen before?
I think he's particularly keen on letting the younger generation know who she was, because they might hear about it. And in a way, actually, I've been quite surprised how her star has faded over these years. We thought, 20 years ago that everyone would always know. If you said the word Diana, they would know who you meant. Well, young people don't. And if you tell people that, she was such a star in her own time, they're curious about her a little bit. But this, the Earl says he hopes, will let them understand just why she was the phenomenon she was, because she was on newspapers and magazines every single day of the week. And they might get to understand the complex woman that she was. And she was complex, and Charles knows that better than anyone. So he wants to introduce a new generation to his sister and also set right we of the older generation on things we may have misunderstood about her.
Jenny Bond, thank you so much for coming on this morning. We always appreciate your time here and to talk about this very fascinating development, I should say, perhaps. Thank you very much, Jenny.
Thank you, Jenny. Now, 12 minutes past 9, and the Prime Minister has announced a drive to get all rough sleepers off the streets by Christmas.
Well, the Prime Minister's attempting a repeat of efforts during the coronavirus pandemic, when the Everyone in scheme, of course, resulted in thousands of rough sleepers across England being taken off of the streets.
Well, the latest annual national statistics, which have been published by the government in February, estimated that there were almost 5,000 people sleeping rough on a single night in autumn in 2025 in England.
Well, this was a new record high in the fourth annual increase in a row. So how bad really is it? GB News political correspondent Olivia Utley joins us now. Olivia, thanks so much for joining us. This was Burnham's first big policy announcement before he even got in the front door of Number 10, and now he's doubling down on it. There's so much complexity in this issue. Are we downplaying it today? Actually, is the Prime Minister making this seem like a simple thing that no one's ever just bothered to do before?
Well, I think that is the huge question, Alex. Is he being a little bit naive in his policy planning? Now, let's just get into the details quickly. What the government has announced is a £102 million package to help mental health and addiction, some of the main reasons why people end up on the streets. That's adding to a £340 million package announced just last month. So there's a lot of money going into this. But Andy Burnham has said that if it was possible during COVID, it will be possible again. People I've spoken to near this issue say that's not really true. In COVID, it was an incredibly unusual set of circumstances because commercial hotels were closed to the public. So it was possible simply to put up people who were rough sleeping into commercial hotels. Obviously, that would be much, much harder this time round. Hoteliers probably wouldn't particularly like the idea of having to close their commercial hotels and giving them over to rough sleepers. And as we have seen time and again with the migrant issue in this country, when there are hotels, commercial hotels, filled with migrants or homeless people, there is a sense of unfairness in the rest of the community that, you could be willing to spend £200 on a hotel room and not be able to get one because it's filled by someone who isn't paying. That might sound simplistic and perhaps unsympathetic from the general public, but that is a sentiment which does carry through. I think this will be really difficult for Andy Burnham, and we know this because he tried the same thing in Manchester, and I think it's fair to say it was only a partial success. The numbers did drop, but then they started to creep up again. And what was happening were people who, sort of schizophrenics who were on lots and lots of different drugs, didn't really want to be in the group shelter that had been set up for them by Andy Burnham, and they would prefer to be back on the street. So that was one problem that was encountered. It is a really, really complex issue. And if you look at the wording from Andy Burnham, it's very careful. He says he wants to get people off the streets for Christmas.
Yes.
What happens after Christmas? What happens in the
I
spring?
think there was the word offer used as well, which might, he said, well, we've offered everybody. So perhaps there's that clever wording there. And I did go to outside number 10 in the north, and there was homeless people camped outside pretty much opposite it. So I don't know whether this is going to work out the way he thinks. Liv, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, Liv. Now, do stay with us, still to come.
The brakes are very sensitive, and the pedals are so close together. Here we go, first time.
Yes, the IndyCar Series hits the streets of Washington, D.C. this weekend, and GB News has hit the track to get the very latest.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray, are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way.
You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Welcome back to breakfast. It's 19 minutes past 9. Now, the roar of IndyCar engines will fill the streets of Washington, D.C. this weekend for the Freedom 250 Grand Prix.
Well, drivers navigate around some of the city's major landmarks, of course, but what does it actually feel like to be behind the wheel of a single-seater racing car? Have you ever done one of these before, Ellie?
No, I'd love to, though.
Yeah.
Ben Leo's been getting in on all the action.
Yeah.
Just sat in the car for the first time. Very tight. I'm quite tall. I'm about, just under 6'2", and buzzing. I don't want to just rock around at 30 miles an hour. I want to get true racing experience. The brakes are very sensitive, and the pedals are so close together. Here we go, first time turning. It's so tight in here, when I steer, my hand is hitting my lap. The handling is insane. I feel like I'm getting faster now. My feet are so big. They're hitting each other when I change from gas to brake. It's super above. Feels like I'm in Formula 1, there's a helicopter above. Wow, amazing. All that power under your fingertips and your feet. Wow. Woo! Amazing. So low to the ground. The noise behind me. The heat.
Best fun you can have with your clothes on.
Just imagine doing that as like an IndyCar driver or F1 driver. Go much faster, obviously, but for 70 laps for hours on end. Oh man, that's so good. Yes. First of all, feedback.
Well, looks like you did well. You started settling in like you belong there.
Tell us about Summit Point. What an amazing site you've got here. 800 acres, 4 or 5 different tracks.
We've got 4 tracks here, 3 motorsports tracks, 5 ring ranges. If you don't find anything to do here, you can't find anything to do. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. So we're here because of the Indy race through Washington, D.C. What do Americans think of that?
Pretty exciting. I mean, we love racing, and to have racing in D.C. is pretty incredible. I can't tell you how many times a road racing map has been drawn on a napkin before, trying to get ready for it.
Come on then, Greg. What are my chances? IndyCar in 5 years?
Well, as long as you keep the phone ringer on, I think you're days away.
As a driver of Formula Car single-seaters, what will they be thinking ahead of this race?
It's tough. It's a new track. It's unproven. You're racing, at the home of America. There's going to be nerves, there's going to be pressure, but these are pros. I think they can handle it. It's going to be noisy, it's going to be a blast. The Indy fans know how to have fun, so you don't want to miss it, you want to be there.
Interesting stuff there, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. He's having the time of his life, is our Ben Leo.
He's having the time of his life, isn't he? Well, coming back next, 9:30, Andrew Pearce, Miriam Cates here for Britain's Newsroom. What have you two have got coming up in your show?
Well, there's a massive story coming out of America, of course.
Yes, there is.
Meta on trial, 29 states, with families alleging that they deliberately made the algorithm addictive to lure children, and many, many families say Meta killed their kids.
And that's Facebook, Instagram.
Yep. Absolutely.
And they have known about the harm that's being caused to children for a long time and covered it up. Of course, one of the biggest companies in the world changed the media landscape. So what does that mean for Facebook and many, many different social media companies? But we've got lots else on Asylum and the Royal Family and Net Zero. It's a treat. But coming up after your weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there, very good morning to you. Welcome to the latest update from the Met Office. A very different feel across the UK compared with summer so far. Some bright spells, yes, but also frequent heavy showers, and not just for northern parts of the UK. Some other areas across England and Wales where we desperately need rain have had a splash of rain overnight, not much, and there'll be further showers through the day today. So, yeah, with a cooler feel as well. It's a marked contrast compared with summer so far. But the most frequent showers always across Northern Ireland, Western Scotland, Northern England, where there'll be some hail and thunder, and it will feel notably cool with a brisk breeze. Further south, low to mid-20s. In any sunny spells, there will be some fleeting showers. Now, these are going to be very hit and miss. Some places will mostly avoid them and stay dry with sunny spells. Other areas will get a brief shower or two. Not enough to help the current situation, but better than nothing. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland, much of Scotland, plastered with showers, those showers pushing south into northern parts of England. The far north of Scotland, fewer showers. They're not quite as lively here, with cooler air all in all for Shetland as well as Orkney. Now, the showers in the northwest do tend to trickle southwards on Wednesday night into Thursday. As a result, I think we're likely to see more showers for England and Wales by the start of Thursday compared with much of today. Temperatures overnight a little bit fresher, especially towards the north, but still in the teens in many places, so not a cold night by any stretch of the imagination. And we start Thursday with very mixed weather across the country. Some areas seeing heavy rain. The heaviest rain, most likely northern England into parts of Wales, and then that will sink south through the day. Hail and thunder possible anywhere across England or Wales. And with these heavy showers, it's certainly going to be something we've not experienced a great deal of during the summer so far.